Welcome in, everyone, to episode 100 of the Battlecast podcast. I'm your host, Peng, joined by my co-host, Speedish Chief 2. And if you are tuning in to the YouTube edition, you'll know our very special guest for episode 100 is none other than Zionic, the previous host of the Battlecast podcast. How you doing, Zionic? And how you doing, Speedy, too?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me back. And Speedy, thanks for picking up my slot and carrying on the Battle Cats. You guys have been doing awesome, but
Man,
yeah.
Somebody's got to handle this guy, right?
You
He's
can't let
something else.
Bastidon run free, man. Like lock him down.
Exactly.
It's only gotten more degenerate since you left, Zionic.
It's true.
He's Speedy's easy to goad into a bet, with me, and he's lost quite a few things besides just the bet too, some facial hair and some other things too. So
yeah, it's been a voyage, I will say that, Zionic. But dude, the work you did to found the Battle Cats and all the other work you've done to found PvP has just been really, really just you're a Goliath among Titans here. So
appreciate it.
Caleb loves my analogy, so we're gonna keep it going with that.
Yeah, if you don't get any of his analogies, it's fine. That's my
dude. He's gonna make a great dad one day with all his jokes.
That's true. I actually was.
I can see it. Like I called King. I'm like, King's gonna make a great dad, and all of a sudden, boom,
True.
girlfriend, boom, married. I'm like, Speedy.
Yeah,
he's already got the lingo. He's already got the jokes and the analogies of a dad. So
it's true. Not far behind.
Not far behind. All right. So this seems kind of wild, but on the wildest off chance that people do not know who you are, Zionic, which I would find shocking if they know us, they don't know you. But if for some reason they don't know you, give us a brief intro of who you are, and everything.
I am a Pokemon Go PvP content creator. I would generally say Pokemon Go because I'll cover, Pokemon stuff. I do battle videos every single day. Love it. Do shoutcasts for play tournaments along with you guys. EUIC back to back, and more EU coming next season, hopefully. And I boom people. So if you face me off in battle, I'm likely going to hit you with the harder hitting moves. So watch out.
It's true. Well, not only that, when you shoutcast, I didn't realize this until recently. You have a boom criteria now too. You can't just you're not just giving it away anymore. You need people need to hit a certain threshold for you to actually say the boom during shoutcasting, right?
Yep. Yeah, for tournaments, for shoutcasts on YouTube, like if it lands, it's gone. But if you see the expected move, maybe not. But
yeah,
I also throw in the little booms, right? So if Shadow Dragonite, 40% health, gets hit with the foul play from a Sableye, it's just and Dragonite goes down to the foul play, boom. Just a little.
You usually have a little like hand motion.
A little,
right?
a little, boom.
Yeah.
It's great. It mixes it up. It's fun.
Where did the boom come from? Actually, I don't know if I know this story.
Yeah.
I think it originally started all the way back in 2020 when I ran a Azumarill, a Alolan Marowak, and Sableye team. I think Tho originally made it, but he didn't use Alolan Marowak. I think he used something else. I can't remember what ghost he used, but I believe it was something else. And I tried it with Fire Blast instead. Maybe he made it with Alolan Marowak, but I tried it with Fire Blast instead.
Yeah, he definitely had Bone Club and like Shadow Ball or Shadow Bone.
I
don't know if Shadow Bone was even out at the time. He might have been running Shadow Ball.
Yeah, I went with Shadow Ball and Fire Blast because no one expected the Fire Blast. So stuff like, whatever, neutral damage, super effective damage back then, along with, it was about the same time Victini came out, and V-Create ran that as well. Oh, it was so much fun. So I think that's when the booms first started, was when I was landing Fire Blast and V-Creates.
Man, I can't imagine a world where you weren't even saying booms before, but I guess yeah, I guess I came from somewhere. So you are one of the first Pokemon Go PvP content creators, to my knowledge, right? It was like, I feel like you,
King and Purple Kyogre, I think, were the original three.
Yeah, you King and Purple Kyogre.
Yeah, because I remember I the update for PvP came out in December of 2018, and I
Mhm.
watched the live stream with Trainer Tips and
Yep.
Mystic 7 who did that fun tournament, and I
Yeah,
spent
one
over
was
a
using a
million.
Tropius too. I remember
Dude,
that.
we wanted to talk.
Before we even
We
knew it was
wanted to
good.
talk about this. Wait, did we get to at EUIC? Yeah, I think we did get to talk about it. Remember back when how we started PvP?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you mentioned all the way. Oh, we might have mentioned this. I know when me and you talking, we definitely. I don't know if we got back this
I
far,
don't I
but
don't remember if we got
yeah,
back to it because it was such a
yeah.
long day. But anyways, that's how it started, was watching that live stream and then investing, over a million dust into random Pokemon. And I went,
Mhm.
this was before Go Battle League, right? Like
Mhm.
years before Go Battle League. So I invested heavy in Ultra League because I thought that was going to be the convergence of
Yep.
all the best Pokemon, because Master League is too expensive.
Same.
Great League has all these random low level Pokemon, but Ultra League has the legendaries and the other Pokemon. So I was like, yes, I'm
Mhm.
going to invest here. So I did like Golem, Aggron, what else did I do? Like Gyarados.
Metagross.
No, I didn't do a
Mm.
Metagross. But I did just a bunch of stuff, and then ultimately, Great League became the meta for both Sylph
Right.
and Go Battle League. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it all started. Battled then, and then I was watching King and Purple Kyogre,
Mhm.
create content, and I thought, you know what, I want to give it a try. So I dragged my wife to my very first Boulder Cup tournament down in London. We did it in a
Yeah.
Starbucks. Shout out
Uh-huh.
to MJ Shafiq. I believe he won that tournament. Um,
Oh, and that's an old school name too.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's still
I
around. I
remember
saw him at
MJ.
EUIC. He came to the event to watch and cheer everyone
Oh,
on.
he didn't compete?
Nice.
He might have. I don't know
I
if he
I
did, because I think he said he was in line. He was like one of the first people in line to get the Poke Center into the shop. He
Oh.
loves getting that exclusive stuff.
Yeah, I remember
But
he I think I was looking at his Twitter and he went to the LCQ last year, the Last Chance Qualifier Worlds.
Mhm.
He's like, "Oh, I'm like dusting everything off. I'm going there, right?"
yeah,
Um, I know he's from the UK too, so that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. So it was I think he won that first tournament. And I
Mhm.
remember the Boulder Cup. I brought a fun team, but I wasn't aware you could bring doubles.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
So I lost to like double Skarmory and double Medicham, and I was just like, oh. But I brought like fun stuff.
Mhm.
I had Skarmory and Medicham on my team. I had a Marsh Stomp. I had a
So
Hitmonchan. I had a
I was
Magneton.
Yep. I was scrolling. I actually found your video here. You had a
What?
Medicham. A Medicham was your sixth Pokemon,
Yeah.
and you had a Torterra as
Torterra.
well.
Yeah, I thought I needed
Yeah.
I thought Marsh Stomp looked pretty good, and I needed a really hard answer.
It was very good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
Bravely
was
was
my
hard to
first.
use too because you're double weak to flying, but I mean it's not
Yeah.
Torterra beats Skarmory by any means.
Yeah, and I think I did 3-2 in that tournament. I was unfortunately unable to record my first battle, but
Mhm.
I remember showing up there and asking everyone if it's okay if I record, because I'm going to make a YouTube video, and they all looked at me weird. And I'm like,
They're
oh, it's
like,
okay.
"Oh,
I'm just
okay."
sitting there tapping. This was back in the day, right, where we'd
Yeah.
get carpal tunnel from tapping our screens. And
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
if you watch back and watch my battles, it's like there's so many obvious mistakes and like swap
Mhm.
outs and all that. It's crazy, but it was fun. It was like literally the first time I got to PvP against anyone other than myself or my wife.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it was really fun, and it all started from there. And then I got hooked. I'm like, all right, I'm going to local tournaments. I'm driving around. I
Yeah.
visited so many different cities here in the UK to do all my tournaments,
Mhm.
because I could never get a group to do local one, so I had to
Yeah.
Yeah.
venture out. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, dude, in the old days where you had to be at least ultra friends or higher friendship to even battle someone remotely.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember that was those were the days. I when I first started too, it was myself, my friend Palmer's up, who was our guest 2 episodes ago, if you don't remember, for anyone watching, and then our other local Bissell Solace. It would be the three of us. We just like worked on the same university campus,
Mhm.
and it was before. So I don't. It was before Boulder Cup even. It was like right when PP dropped, like you said, and we also did ultra stuff. And I kind of blame trainerships for this one because I remember specifically in a YouTube video. You must have even saw the same ones. Ionic. He said like I feel like Ultra League is going to be the competitive league
Mhm.
because it falls in that in between where you use legendaries and
Yep.
all that stuff, right? So I think
That's
a lot of people watching that was thinking like,
That
Ultra League,
probably
right?
influenced why I thought the same thing, is because I saw
Yeah,
him say it.
Yeah.
I won't even
yeah.
take the original thought on it. I probably saw him saying like, yeah, that'll be it.
No, it's all good. I mean, no hate on traders, but I think that's why a lot of us started with Ultra League, and we
Mhm.
played like a King of the Hill format. So it's like
Mm.
me, Palmer's Up, and Abyssal Souls. And what we would do is, like we each only really had like 4 or 5 like Ultra League Pokemon, so we could only spice it up so much, and we all already knew each other's Pokemon. Um, and what we'll do is we just create blind teams of 3. And let's say if like it's the 3 of us playing, I'll play like Zionic first. And if I win, I have to
Mhm.
run the same exact 3 Pokemon with the same lead for the next battle, right?
Oh,
And it's like
okay.
King of the Hill, I stay on the hill,
Mm.
right? And first to
Yeah.
5 points wins. And then I battle Speedy, right? And if I
Uh,
beat him, I come back to you. But then this time around, I'm running the same team as before, so you can hard
Yeah.
counter if you want. Or if I lose, then you face Speedy now, and he
mhm.
has to use, I guess, whatever team he beat me with and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
but we were just like literally in a Discord chat, like typing each other, like, oh, like what's going on now, right? Like we didn't really screen share, and like I don't even think Discord had screen share back then. Actually, it
Yeah.
really didn't. Actually, you had to use some probably mirror software that we didn't have. So I'd be like, if I'm not like fighting, I'm like yo, how's it going? Like how close is it? Stuff like that. Like oh man, like he's up 4 points now. You need to stop him, right? And stuff like that. And it was just a ton of fun because none of us knew what the heck we are doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, this is just how we started. And like, there's no one else we could really battle with because I wasn't really ultra friends or best friends with anyone else that
Mhm.
PvP'd, right? Because not everyone got into it, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Mhm.
it
Yeah,
was
that was the tough thing, was getting people into it, because you're
It
like,
was.
dude, if you come to this tournament, like there's so many cool people and everyone's hanging out, having a good time. Usually these tournaments had food as well, and
oh
Mhm.
it's a
well,
great atmosphere. But then they're like, there's no connection. Like for
Mhm.
the people who
Yeah.
are like, why would I PvP? Why would I invest, 150,000, 200,000 on a Metacham? Like, what's the
right.
point?
Mhm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah. Exactly.
which was
No, no,
tough,
no.
but yeah.
No, I'm just like watching back your video here and the other side of the screen, and you're running Psycho Cut Metacham, which I think does make a lot of sense in this meta, especially with all the other Metachams you're
Okay.
facing against.
Yeah.
But no, it's so cool to see like how retro this looks, and like tapping the charge moves and like the bubbles getting bigger. Everyone's running a single move Skarmory in the
Yep.
Photo Cup.
Yeah,
Yep.
Um,
Air slash sky attack. You didn't
yeah.
need
You
didn't
don't
need
really need
anything
flash
else.
skin,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, and then when you go to switch, you actually have to push that button at the bottom right corner to
Oh,
pull up the switch
dude,
menu,
Oh,
and then
dude.
push
I
it
forgot
back
about that.
down, right?
How do
So
people
you almost
sack swap back then? It's just wild to
Dude,
me.
so hard. You
Yeah.
could only do fast moves in between your sack swaps, right? Because you had to
Mm-hmm.
tap the basic move while you had your switch tray open and
Yeah.
then try to catch, right?
Yeah.
It was absolutely insane. No, I remember I didn't have the guts to go to my first tournament until Kingdom Cup, but Boulder Cup came
Okay.
out. The second one I believe was
Twilight.
Twilight. Thank you. Yeah,
Yep.
Twilight came out, and I was like, you know what? I theory crafted. I made some teams. Then I got out to my first one, and I agree with you, Psionic. Like it's really, you're really fortunate to have a good local scene. That's what I had in Tampa. Like as soon as I went in, there were a lot of people playing. That's where I met Lyndon and Wine About Law, and we just made a bunch of friends there almost immediately. And that was actually
Mm-hmm.
really, that's not the common occurrence, right? For a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people, they have to venture out, they have to go and do things, and that's part of the reason why I feel like our championship series is so good, because it actually brings people together from
Yeah.
different parts of the world and of their country. So
And they're broadcasted too. A lot of them are,
Mhm.
not all of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get to. It's not like that blind King of the Hill format where me and my friends were just like trying to figure out what's going on. Like you can actually see it, right? And I
Yeah.
think that just builds more like lore and like history for the game because of that.
Sonic, I wanted to ask you. So, obviously, you were one of the original 3 PvP content creators. King has a really famous story, right? He's like, "Yeah, I was doing a tournament, and people gathered around me while I battled Brandon Tan,
Oh
and
yeah.
there was so much hype and energy. I felt like this could be something." Was there like a moment or an inflection point when you saw that Pokemon Go could be something, or did you just make content because you thought it was cool?
I made content because I thought it was cool and it was fun, and I enjoyed showing, especially because how the self tournaments went was you try to get your tournament in early, like that first week when you got something hot, you got a hot
Mm-hmm.
team, you got, because the second information gets out about a Pokemon in a
Mm-hmm.
tournament, it's everywhere, and then you have to fight. So you got to get that team out early. So I'd always like super hard prep, build my team, and try to get to a local tournament that first
Mm-hmm.
week or that first weekend. and then showcase that tournament video so that everyone else can see, oh, this is the team that I use. This is what worked well. This is a strategy that worked, and help other people win. That's what I enjoyed about it, was like engaging with the comments of like, oh my gosh, the triple water strategy in the Rainbow Cup was so good. Thank you for that. Because I had a plan, and I went with it, and it worked, and helping other people do it was great. But on the flip side of that, I'm looking at Play Pokemon. I'm looking at these VG tournaments, and I'm like, how easy would it be to just connect phones to an HDMI cable and display it and have tournaments? Like, I could see it happening.
Yeah.
And then this is the funny story. This is when I knew, this was the moment that I knew it could actually be something. Was I was messaging King, and Trainer Tips posted a video, and he said something to the extent of he wants to go to Southern America at some point. He's never been there, but he's always wanted to visit. And King had just finished the Kingdom Cup, and was talking to Trainer Tips, because I think Trainer Tips
He was also
there.
there, yeah.
Yeah. And I
he didn't
messaged
do as
King.
well. He had like a Empoleon and like a Sunny Castform on his team. I remember.
Yeah. So I messaged King. I said, if you're still with Trainer Tips, tell him, let's go to South America and shoutcast the biggest tournament in Argentina, because they got a big one coming up, and let's just fly down there and figure it out and broadcast it on Twitch.
It was a regional too.
Yeah. And King was like, okay, and he DMs him, and then all of a sudden the plans and go. Like, we reach out to Argentina, we get everything set up, we get flights, we go down there, we share an Airbnb, and it was so surreal, because it was like, I just had this idea. I'm like, Trainer Tip said he wants to go to South America. The biggest regional to date is going to be in Argentina. King is sitting next to Trainer Tips in this video. Like, come on, King, make it happen. So I messaged him. It worked. We got down there. And it was so cool, because the regional was amazing. I think Marto Galde ended up winning that.
Yeah, we didn't even know who Marto was back then.
Yeah, and he became an absolute legend because of it. And it was so cool, because King was doing exactly what he's doing now. Like, he was working with everyone, getting everything set up. We were in a school, but it wasn't a traditional school. It was a multi-level school. So you had classrooms, like 4 classrooms on each floor, and then a set of stairs, and then another 4 classrooms. So we had all these different pods of where everyone would battle, and then the stream set up in a classroom with computers. And King was coordinating everything, make sure we got the right cables, make sure we got the right this, coordinate this, here, you guys got to go here, you guys need to do that, we need to buy this, and he's doing exactly what he's doing now to play amazing. Pokemon, of just making sure the event runs well and everyone has a good time, which, like, looking back, just is so good. And then I had fun shoutcasting it, obviously, with them, and yeah, it was amazing.
Dude, I remember watching that live too. I think Brandon Tom was in the chat as well. Was he even on Twitch? I feel like it was on like YouTube.
Or it might have been on YouTube. It was it was somewhere.
It was somewhere. It was because I remember the format. I'm just thinking back on it too. The format looked really old school, but like this was only a few years ago too. But we're all like pretty new to live stream, right? For Pokemon Go at the time.
Yeah.
I remember like it was like a Quagsire versus like a Gallade. And the Quagsire got like an acid spray thing.
An acid spray.
All people all like freaked out. I was like, dude, I was freaking out on the couch too, right? I was like, this feels like a real sport, right? I was like coming off of just my regional too, but again, like back then, none of these were broadcasted. You would just like literally it would be so there were still regionals to be specific, grassroots, but they would send like the link to the tournament, like tournament bracket, and you just be like refreshing for like next 3 hours, right? Trying to see what's going on, because there's no updates, right? You're just looking at the actual progress of the bracket, but to see it unfold live, it was super wild too. And
I remember
and we all want
that
to see.
play.
Yeah,
like the biggest, because it's obviously so long ago, and there's so many things that have happened in between then. But the 2 things I remember from that was Marto winning, and then the acid spray Quagsire that got the shield bait. And
it was acid spray Stone Edge, and it beat the Gallade because it was debuffed by then, and even though Stone Edge resisted, it was just
Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. It was so good. But that tournament, when I experienced it, I knew that I'm like, we got something here. Like, I even posted something like, my whole goal is to help make this game an esport. And
Yeah.
so many people supported that, but a lot of people also made fun of it. Like, oh, the Tap Tappy esport.
Of
I'm like, I'm
course.
telling you guys, like, if you get the right structure and you get the right people, the battlers will come and it will be amazing. And that's exactly what we've seen over the past couple of years. So
Yeah. Well, shortly after that, you also went to Chicago to commentate for the North America World Championships,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is when we first met, actually.
It was,
Um,
yeah. That was,
yeah,
oh man, that was a lot of fun. That was a jam-packed bowling
Dude.
alley.
dude,
For
tell me
anyone
about it.
listening,
Slash casino, right?
it was in a
Yeah,
yeah, it was a bowling alley slash restaurant,
pizza
and
place
there
had a
was
lot of
like
pizza.
1,000 people there.
Mhm.
I kid you not.
Mhm.
It was
They broke
jam
every fire
packed.
safety code.
Yes.
Jam packed. We're shoutcasting in a food booth table with all these cables running everywhere. We got um Cochino Mom in the background photo bombing.
Uh-huh. I
Just
remember that.
it was so, like, looking back, there were so many people there that
Mhm.
you're like, oh my gosh, everyone was in one place at one time, and we may not have
Mhm.
known everyone at that time, but it was so much fun. And I think that tournament as well. I do apologize. I don't remember the name of the person who won it, but I think he ran a lantern
Yeah,
in that tournament.
Shmusif.
Yeah.
Shmusif, yeah.
Yeah.
Blade and Lantern, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people were smart about Lantern because there were certain restricted picks like Probopass, Melmetal, and Bastion. I think were all restricted picks. You can only use like one of the two on your whole one out of just like you can only use two restricted picks. But not only that, there were a bunch of other restricted picks like a Zoomer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were smart and they brought Lantern instead because people weren't really
Yeah.
bring Altaria because Skarmy just beat Altaria like head on back then
Mhm.
Yeah.
consistently, and so yeah, I think because they nerfed Sky Attack since then. Um, but so everyone brought Lantern as their anti flyers, which was super smart. I had a
Mhm.
Steelix, which did not work out for me so well. I didn't actually even bring it into a single game. But yeah, so they had Lantern. That was like the first time we ever saw anyone use a Vigoroth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Also
Medicham was
true.
restricted, so a lot of people didn't have Medicham, but a
Yeah.
lot of people had Vigoroth, which was kind of wild.
Yeah.
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 It was,
Is pretty crazy. I remember Shmusif and Felipe were battling there in Chicago, and Felipe was actually from Florida. So like
oh, okay.
everybody from Florida was like, "Come on, Felipe, come
Yeah. Wait,
on!"
was that the guy with a bunch of numbers? The XX like a
Yes,
bunch of
Yeah,
O's?
the XOs. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, the Exos guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Felipe was super humble, very, very good. He actually came to one of the regionals in Tampa and just
Mhm.
dominated. He was really, really an outstanding trainer. But I remember, speaking to your point, Zionic, about the people that were there, like you could just run down a list of all the names. I remember being on the outside of that, right? Like seeing you, Trainer Tips, and King like in the booth, and I was like, oh man, those casters are really cool. They're over there by themselves. Like this is gonna be, a really hype event. And I actually went to King's like after party first, but he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there. He was obviously like casting the tournament. So
Yeah.
Lyndon and I were like, screw that. We're going to go to the actual tournament. And we actually left his after party and went over there to watch. But
That's a
yeah,
pre-party. Yeah.
The
it was
pre-party.
a
Yeah.
pre-party after party, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember the finals outside in the rain because they kicked us out because
Oh my
literally we had
gosh.
so many
Yes.
connection issues.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh
Dude.
my gosh, that was so funny.
And someone's like filming it or live streaming it from like their over the shoulder. It was
Over
kind
the
of wild.
shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh my
Mhm.
dude, that's how this all started with Azure over the shoulder at Liverpool.
True.
Dude, for
That's so
real.
funny. That's
Yeah,
actually
people were like
come
holding
full circle.
umbrellas. People
Yeah.
were like holding umbrellas over the players so they didn't get their screens wet because they were
Yep.
trying to, do their charge moves and stuff. Oh man.
Yep.
Dude, everyone bring your phones to Japan, man. You're gonna in the worlds. You never know. You might have to be over the shoulder of someone if there's some internet issues in the venue.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
uh, good times. Yeah, it was against Shmusiv and Peace Love Hugs,
Yeah.
a Texan player. Yeah,
Mhm.
dude, I
Yeah.
still remember. So at that Worlds too, I luckily enough was able to qualify in my pod. So it was like a self like 8-person tournament, like 3-round tournament where the winner, the undefeated person, goes on to like the finals,
Yeah.
the top 8, wherever. And then in my pods, uh, 2 people that I still know to this day is Bone Chip and that boy Muck.
Muck.
And that boy Muck was the one that won our pod too, which
He
was
was
wild.
he was schmoovin' even back in 2019.
Dude, I always tell him, like, yo, you didn't face me that day, so that's why you went undefeated. No, he played great though. I almost went 0-3. I got like barely got a 1-2 off of that.
Mm.
I was
That was a
up like 1 game to 0 in the first set, and then this guy brought like I think it was just Shadow Dragonair just tore through my team. He just kept bringing it. I didn't have an answer
It's
for it.
still doing that to this day,
dude.
man.
It still is. It still is. Just before Shadows were around. Even if no, yeah, I don't think Shadows were around at all. Actually, yeah,
It's
the
just
Shadows
normal
were definitely not
Dragonair.
around. Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
also back then too, when they did have the Shadows, they weren't doing extra damage in PvP until later, I think. So,
yeah. So I really want to give a lot of credit to Sylph, especially in the early days, for giving PvP structure. Because like we were talking about before, in order to battle somebody, you had to be ultra friends, right, to battle them consistently. So I actually had a local that we just wanted a friendship interaction each day. So we do one Great League battle, one Ultra League battle, and one Master League battle, and that would
were you
just
trying
be.
to do? Were you working on the badge too?
I think so. Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
badge as well.
Uh-huh.
But it was like very, very limited and very constrictive. And PvP was just kind of implemented. But then a lot of trainers were like, "What do we do? Like, what do we do with this?" Right. So I think the story's all there. You know, we've seen Sylph kind of carry the grassroots and bring people together, and now play Pokemon. Thankfully, is here, and we're really excited for that. But what I wanted to ask you, Psionic, is from a casting perspective, right? This is a brand new game. A lot of people don't really understand what it is. It's not quite a fighting game. It's not quite like a MOBA. It's somewhere in the middle, I guess. As a caster, you're one of the first. How did you? I've been curious about this personally. How did you develop your approach to casting? I mean, obviously there's play by play, there's color commentary. Was there like a way that you thought about it, or did you just talk about what was on the screen and everything evolved from there?
Yeah, I would say it started just talking about what's on the screen and trying to interject the knowledge that I had at the time about why that was good or why that was bad or what's happening. But I think ultimately I get excitement watching these battles, even if I have to have it on mute.
Yeah.
Because it's too loud for the kids or whatever. I remember when King was doing his tournament in last season, and he ended up winning winning it.
Indianapolis, yeah.
Yeah. We were watching here, but we didn't have sound on because it was too my son was saying it was too much, too loud, so we just had the sound off. But I'm watching the battle. I'm so excited watching him play coming. He was down, and I'm like, I look to Lucy, my wife, and I'm like, he's coming back. Like, there ain't no way King's going down. He's going to come back, and he just kept winning and winning. I'm just watching. There's excitement when you watch it. When you love something and you see it happening when it's working, there's excitement. There's excitement to be had. So my casting, I was trying to do play by play, but like channel my excitement when I watch the battle, especially when I consider myself a pretty good battler, but you guys know there are top tier players out there. When you see them make those plays, it's like the stuff that you don't see coming. It's like, it's absolutely insane and so much fun. So I just channel that energy into the cast, basically.
Yeah, definitely. Especially the kind of place where like you see all the backline Pokemon and you're like, dude, there's no way. Like you see everything, you see the energy counts, are like there's I don't see a win condition, right? And then they somehow come out with one. It's just like you can't not be surprised, right? Because like it's literally that surprising.
Like the first peekaboo we ever saw in a live stream at
dude.
Dortmund.
Yes.
Like
I found that clip for one of my YouTube videos recently because I was making a peekaboo
Yeah.
video and I was like, funny enough, it's still the most watched clip of all time on Sylph's Twitch channel.
Yeah. It is insane. Like it is now turned into a strategy. I actually used that strategy this morning.
Yeah.
I literally did. Like my win condition is showing my Abomasnow and then swapping because I was facing off against a Vigoroth with loaded energy.
Yeah.
My win con is showing the Abomasnow because they'll go for Body Slam because they wouldn't go for Bulldoze. It's resisted, right?
Of course.
Show the Abomasnow. They had loaded energy. Swap to my Alolan Marowak after one counter, and I caught the Body Slam, and that was my win condition. They top left after that. I'm like, yes. So it's a play like it's something like that, something you never expect, and all of a sudden, boom, someone does it, and the excitement's there, and the excitement never leaves whenever it happens at tournaments. Because, yeah, it's amazing. Because I think Bird, I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher the name. Bird Power. Yeah, she did it. She did a peekaboo play. I think that you were casting, Caleb.
Yep, Vancouver. It was on her Diggersby. She caught a Shadow Ball on it.
Yeah, I was going nuts. I was sitting here making thumbnails, and I'm watching this. I'm like, oh, she did it! It was beautiful.
Dude, that clip of of you and King is just immortalized, right? You're both like jumping back. You're both wearing those white collar shirts,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh my god!" Like
Yeah. Well,
staggering back.
it's even funny because you reacted to it before King did. You're like, "Oh my gosh!" And he's like, like it took him like a brief second to see what's registering because back then the switch
Oh,
mechanics are still like different, right?
we were watching on an iPad.
Oh,
We didn't have
very
a
nice.
computer monitor with big everything. We had a little like kind of standard iPad that was
Mhm.
set up that we were watching the battles from, and he must have just not caught it. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was nuts. And the thing is, that venue was sold out. It was
Mhm.
packed. We sold. It was a huge. I can't remember the name of the hotel, but it was a massive like venue lobby where
Mhm.
you could fit like comfortably seated like 300
Wow.
people,
Yeah.
and that place was packed chair to chair, people standing in the back watching it on the projector and the front, and the crowd went wild after that. It was so cool.
Dude, I remember when that event was going on, I was driving to my friend's like apartment warming or whatever. And I remember just like I was just listening to a lot of it, but I remember sitting in the car for like an extra like 20 minutes when I parked at his place to just like watch the rest of it. 'Cause I was like, dude, I need to see how this ends, right? Because
Yeah.
it was really well run too. I mean, especially compared to
Mhm.
Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Which is like the
We've
technology and everything
definitely
was
learned a
much better.
lot
Yeah.
from
Mhm.
that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's obviously that's what happened. Same with play Pokemon tournaments, right? We
Mhm.
learned so much. I mean, thinking back to our first time casting EUIC last year
Dude.
Dude.
compared to what you guys are doing now and what we did at EUIC this year, I
Mhm.
think it's you can tell that everyone's got experience now. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's good. I mean, we were still pretty good back then on the first go, but
Yeah, I mean, you didn't really drop a beat, I think. You didn't even miss a beat when you came
Yeah.
back around too, you know? Like,
I
you probably
will
wouldn't be able
say
to
this, I was
tell.
a bit uncomfortable, and I told you guys this when we were doing it.
Uh-huh.
Hearing myself while we're on the stage,
Oh, yeah, on the
Mm.
last
dude,
stage,
I
yeah.
couldn't. My brain could not process that. I'm like, it was so rough.
Mhm.
I couldn't do
Yeah.
it.
It's
Like,
I think with production too, like I think it's been long enough. We can talk about this, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In
So, I keep forgetting to mention this, but quick heads up to anyone listening: we are recording this on May 11th. When you hear this, it's going to be at least May 24th. So we're like, if something big happened in Pokemon Go slash PvP slash the entire world in the past like 14 something days. We don't know about it. So just a quick heads up, right? So if it seems like we're like, wait, you all didn't talk about the second boom burst update, right? We don't
bro,
know,
you didn't
right?
talk about Bastiodon getting mud shot?
right?
Yeah,
What?
I would have been hyped this whole time.
No. But to your point, Psionic, at the first EUIC, if you notice us in when we first started off, we were like, I think myself and Butters were like turned a little bit to the side. It's because of our setup. There was actually a computer tower that we had to like sit
Oh,
around a certain way, and it's just
okay.
like. And to your point about the echo at EUIC this year, there are always these things in production that you just don't expect, right? There are
Yeah.
always these things that happen that are just day of that you don't know they're coming, and one of the hardest things about being in broadcast is just rolling with it and pretending like nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everything is on fire in the background, right?
Yep. And I
That's pretty
I
much it.
tried my best, and I think we worked really well as a team to
Hmm.
carry the conversation because no one watching knew.
Mhm.
No.
But like we had to, for anyone listening, if you watched when we were having the lounge discussions in the four chairs,
Hmm.
I couldn't hear someone talking two chairs away. I just
Yeah.
couldn't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Caleb would have to talk to Will would have to talk to me,
Oh
I would have
yeah.
to talk to Amanda would talk back to me, I'd talk back to Will, and that's how we carried the conversation because we couldn't know otherwise. And then whenever Caleb was like looking at the camera saying something, I'm just like waiting for the end of the production because I don't know what you're
Yeah.
saying, but I feel like we're
Hmm.
almost done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
But
was an interesting time. So for anyone that's watching, like they seem a little out of sync or like maybe they interrupted each other and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that's just because we literally couldn't even hear
Yeah,
yeah.
like what some of the people were saying, which was a
yeah,
little unfortunate. But hopefully again, like, these productions are only getting better and better too. So the feedback
yeah.
hopefully
That's what I was trying to
is
get
being
at
well
is
received.
like they've been getting better, and yes, you'll have
Mhm.
some hiccups, but it's like just like you said,
Hmm.
Speedy, we just roll with the punches and like get the job
Dude.
done and have a good time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because I really loved the casting booth, like compared to last year when I did a UIC,
Oh yeah.
so much better for everyone. Are we allowed to
Dude.
talk about how it was set up? Or
I think we talk roughly about it. I mean, I think the big
Yeah.
thing is also like I remember last year when we were in Frankfurt, I was watching back the VOD. They would just cut to like 15-minute breaks. It'd be like, we'll be back
Mhm.
in 15 minutes. It would be like a 15-minute countdown, I think. Just
yeah,
like randomly, right? Because they were trying to like switch casters or like go take a bathroom break or something. And it was just like these days, like you don't just sit around watching a 15-minute countdown, right? You're like there's
no,
like
Mhm.
recap videos or like other stuff like spotlight videos, like things to keep you
Eh,
entertained, which is
and so much of that is due to Daniel, right, and our
yeah.
other
Mhm.
producers who have just
Yep.
been pushing the broadcast along. Again, there was such a learning curve, like we were talking about with Sylph, right? Watching games on an iPad because you didn't have a full monitor. There has
yeah,
been a learning curve with play Pokemon too, and I just
Mhm.
think, like to Zionic's point earlier, the growth we've seen over the past year has just been absolutely nuts. This is our first full season, and it
yeah,
Mhm.
feels like we're veterans, at this
Yeah.
point.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what I'll say is like I know like I haven't been able to do casts because of just situations and whatnot, but seeing you guys develop and then being able to cast with you guys in person and seeing how much you guys have changed.
Mhm.
To be fair, like when we get in the booth, like it is what it is. We were casting pretty much the same as we were before,
Yeah.
But seeing how
Mhm.
you guys handled the stage was like it was really cool because I can tell you guys have like been through the ringer and you guys got experience under your belt. It was really fun and an honor to do that with you guys.
No, for sure.
Cool.
I mean, it was great to work with you again too, because I know a lot of people were like, "Yo, Zion didn't miss a beat. Like he's back on it, right?"
Mhm.
And it's like because it was
Yeah.
literally a full year since you've been on the official broadcast too. Um, but not that it was amazing still. And I remember too. Speaking of last year, when like because it was me and Speedy paired together, and you and Butters. When you and Butters are casting, like we literally couldn't even hear what you're saying backstage because there was no like
Yeah.
audio and everything. We're like I'm like literally just watching the gameplay, but I don't even know what you all were saying, right?
Yep.
It was like I had to like it would have to be like if Speedy's on admin duty, I would have to go out to the spectate area and to listen to it because
See
I
the
literally couldn't
games.
watch
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I couldn't watch or listen to your
Okay.
commentary any other ways. Yeah. So
Yeah, I
it
what I
was
did for you guys was I put the stream on my phone
okay, yeah.
and then I just had the audio play and then I
Mhm.
watched the video. It would be a bit out of sync because of
Yeah.
time delay, but I would watch um the video from
Mhm.
the admin point of view.
Gotcha.
Like when that play when Tho with the defense form Deoxys survived with like 1 HP and it's like had
Yeah.
he gone for the counter, I think he might have lived. It was some
Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
plays like that.
Dude, nuts.
Man, we've come a long way. Come a long way. Speaking of, a year ago too, for I'm sure some people they're curious too. What's been life like for you the past years, Ionic? I know, especially since like if they tune in the podcast, maybe haven't tuned into some of your videos since then.
Um I think life has been about the same. I mean, my kids are getting older, which
Mhm.
is which
Mhm.
is really cool because my son now they have a birthday basically at the same time, September and October.
Oh, okay.
Uh, so they're both about to turn 3-4. They're now 3-2. But
That's
the
wild.
different the development of my kids, especially for parents, they know at
Mhm.
home. Um, when you have basically a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old and they go to 3-2, there's a bit of a leap, but
Mhm.
my son's development from 3 now about to go on to 4 has been insane.
Mm.
Absolutely
Really?
insane. He just sits there having full conversations. He plays video games with me. We love our family game is Lego games on the
Okay.
Switch.
Mm. Mhm.
So
There's
we have
Lego
been
games on
playing.
Switch, dude. Lego games are always like really good.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they're so
Sure.
good. And we got the full Star Wars collection. So it's the every single
Oh.
Star Wars movie and every
Yeah.
yeah, it's and he has a blast and he's a little genius. He's solving these problems. He's like he hands it to me, Daddy, I don't know how to solve it. And I look at it and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of tough. Like, let me try to figure this out. And I can't figure it out. And then he takes the controller from me and then turns and does something and then it works. I'm like, oh
Dude.
man. My
Dude.
parents talked about how I beat them in video games at a young age, and now my son's doing it at 3.
Dude. That's a prodigy
So
in the
that's
making right
that's
there.
basically been the change. We're still living the same place, still making the same content, but I
Yeah.
think ultimately for me it's been watching my kids grow up has been the big thing and so much fun.
Dude, that's so wild. Because when I first met you, you didn't even have kids. You were married back
No.
then, though, but you
Yeah.
didn't like. I
Yeah.
don't even think your wife was pregnant or anything. It was like
Nope.
summer of 2019, and
Yeah. Actually she
yeah.
was uh Let's see. Let me get my dates right.
Yeah, because it would have been June of 2019. So
she was pregnant then.
oh, she was
She
okay.
was because
Oh,
when
because you had your
we
first child at the end of 2019.
Yep, Atlas
Oh,
was
okay, okay.
born on October 1st, the start of the new sylph season of 2019. Yeah.
Wow.
But I told when we did um, the Dortmund Worlds for Sylph, I told King there the news that I was gonna have a son because
Yeah.
King and I were very very close, you know,
Mhm.
back in the old days.
Yeah.
And it was exciting and nerve wracking. And then
course.
like 6 months later, COVID hits. You know, I got a baby. Like every Go Battle League comes out.
Yeah.
Like just
Dude.
chaos ensues.
Yeah, and you
Hectic.
became a full-time content creator too. I remember you were like a carpenter before, right?
Yeah, I did. I did a bunch of carpentry work. I would do like home extensions and stuff like that, and then also events, which we would
Excel
talk about.
Center.
Dude,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Excel.
Tell them what happened.
Yeah, I'll tell them what happened. All right. So I worked. So carpenters, you can do like shop stuff where you can build stands for events, kind of like the play Pokemon stuff. But this is more catered towards like retail sales. So if there's a big, I don't even know, some kind of big retail sale where they want vendors to come in and kind of see the product and whatnot. So I built these stands and I worked at the XL. Like I was there at least once or twice a week for 2 years straight. And so I know my way around the XL.
Yeah.
And when we're leaving our first day
For
of
context, that's where EUIC was hosted as well as
yeah,
Worlds last year.
EUIC
Yeah.
was hosted, which I
Yeah. So
said
we're
was
all
super
at this.
surreal to be
Mhm.
coming back here because I'd worked here. Like I
Mhm.
literally walked around for 14 hours working there
Mhm.
and then come back and do Pokemon stuff was so much fun. But so we're heading out, and I was like determined that this is the way back to our hotel. This is where we need to go. And Caleb was like, I don't think so. And I turned to him like, bro, I've worked here for 2 years. Like I know my way out. Turns out it wasn't. I got
Yeah.
turned around. But thankfully, the way that we were going was the direction they wanted to go. To meet up with everyone for a little bit, and I had to do the walk of shame all the way down the XL again to go back to the hotel and get to sleep.
Yeah. The
I just
Excel's
remember.
like
Yeah.
you go ahead, Caleb.
No, I was gonna say is like I just remember like Zanik was playing it off like real chill, right? Like we literally walked like maybe a total of extra like 30 to 40 seconds. He's like,
Mhm.
guys, I was like, it might be this way. I was like, what do you mean? Like you literally was saying it's here. He's like, like you just like casually like, yeah, you know, it might be this way. I was like, what do you mean?
I
Like you
s-
literally said like you knew the direction. What do you mean we're turning around? He's like, okay, yeah, I was wrong. Okay, like I kept really thinking.
what I saw was there was a car stand at the end.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember. I
Mm.
think it was like a Formula One car or something like that. Some kind of
Yes.
cars
Hmm.
race car there. And I remember seeing that on my first day because I went and got Starbucks. And
Hmm.
that car was
Yes.
at the Starbucks entrance. So when we finally cleared the crowd and the distance and got a little bit ways and I saw that car, I knew in my head, I'm like, shit. Like I went the
Yeah,
wrong
here
way.
it is.
Yeah, you played it off real well. The whole time I was like, what do you mean? I was like,
Dude,
You got to play it
there's
off smooth, man. You got to roll with it.
so to make Zionic feel a little bit better, the hall, the Excel hall is like this super long tube, essentially like a rectangle, right? It's
hmm.
got a north side and a south side, and we've been there a couple times, right? So we're a little bit more familiar. But there's a Kawa coffee on either side, right? On the east end and the west end. And I remember one of the days I went out to go get coffee, and I just like turned my head to the right, and I was like, "There's the Kawa, I'm going." And I walked all the way down to this coffee shop. And by the time I got there was a line. I couldn't get my coffee in time, and I had to walk back. I felt like an idiot, and I felt like an even bigger idiot because when I got back to the entrance to the venue where we were working, I looked, and the other kawa was right there. It's just I turned my head to the right, and I didn't see the kawa on my left, right?
Yeah.
And it's like these little minor things. Like if you go to Walmart and you look at the different rows, they're marked right for parking in the parking lot, and you don't really pay attention to that. And but then if you look at, for example, in the Excel, it has a north side and south side, and they're numbered. So if we would have said, okay, we're starting at north one, that's where we entered, then seeing the numbers go up, we'd say, okay, we're going the wrong direction. But it's like
Yeah.
these little minor things that you just don't pay attention to until you're like,
Hmm.
crap, I'm on the wrong end.
Yep. Yeah.
I knew.
He knew. Caleb the whole time was like, I don't think it's this way. I
Yeah,
think nope.
literally everyone was like against me, like, no, I think it's
Yeah,
a certain way.
everyone
We're
was
supposed to
against
Zionic,
you.
right? And
But what
you're
worked
supposed to be
out is
Caleb. I
where
used to
I
work
got
here.
you guys. I got you guys where
Yes,
you needed to go.
yes,
I
Yeah,
was the one that had to
exactly.
walk back.
You just played it off. You're like, yo, I
Yeah,
wanted to walk you to the Fox, and here we are. So
exactly.
you're
I think
Yeah.
we
welcome.
definitely mentioned this at the bar too afterwards.
You're telling everybody.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. This is like a weird transition because that's nothing to do with what we're talking about here. But we promised our listeners, um, some story. I think it was oh, it was when we had DeFi on. Yeah, Stephanie heard the story too, and I must have shared it somewhere. We talked about like embarrassing stories and stuff related to like vomiting and stuff. So I said, you know what? On episode 100, I will mention this story, but I think it only makes more sense if both of you also share a very embarrassing story slash a vomit story to
Dude.
compensate. And let me preface it by this way and say not a single person I've ever met has had a more embarrassing like 24 hours than I have. So I'll share mine first to get us warmed up. And then
Right.
if you feel like, oh, I could top Caleb, then great. Or if not, then win-win
I'll
because
just
you have a less embarrassing story, right? Um,
okay.
but I'll share mine and then maybe Speedy can go and then Zion can go too if go around the room here. But it's again nothing related
Yeah.
to Pokemon Go. But we mentioned this. I forgot how it came up, but we mentioned it somewhere. But just strap in because I know Will knows the story. I don't think Zionic knows.
Yeah.
But this happened. This was going into fourth grade. I was what, like 9 years old, and I was like the new kid in school. It was in the fall, and I was actually commuting to the bus stop where I was taking this going to school because I was like, me and my mom were planning to move to a new town, but like it just wasn't ready yet, or at least wasn't up. But so we were maybe like 2 weeks into the new school year, but we're still like living 20-30 minutes drive to the town before we moved. So my mom would drive me from our apartment in a different town over to the new town I was moving to drop me off at the bus stop, and then I'd ride the bus to go to school, right?
Yeah.
We did this for like a few weeks until we finally moved officially.
Mhm.
And when I was a kid, I would get car sick a decent amount. But like it usually be like long road trips. For some reason this day I got car sick just for the 30-minute daily car ride, which doesn't usually happen. And I remember specifically I had like Lucky Charms and milk, right, for breakfast. And this was in Connecticut too, right? I was like full time Connecticut, and I get on the bus, and yeah. So anyway, I was also in a new town where it was like very homogenous. I was like the only like one of the few like only like non-white kids in the whole school, right? And I was a new kid, and it was a small farm town, so everyone knew who I was, right? Everyone knew I was a
Yeah.
new kid, right? So I was like trying to fit in somehow. And I get on the bus. The moment I step on the bus, I just like throw up in the entire aisle, right? Like I was like, and like from the start, not even at the back, right? I was like just lined up the whole like aisle, right? And
Yeah.
I felt awful, right? And then like just like sick and stuff. And the bus driver's like, "Hey, like you're gonna have to clean this up." Because then back in my mind, when I was a kid, I was like throwing up, like my parents will help clean it up or like whatever. I had to make sure I'm okay. But like there's no adults there besides the bus driver, and they obviously had to drive the bus. So she's like, "You have to clean this up." I was like, I don't have anything. She had like 2 napkins. I don't know how I like cleaned up this stuff with 2 napkins. Somehow I cleaned up with 2 napkins, did the best I could, right? And I just like sat in the back of the bus and just kept to myself, right? And then like opened up the window so it didn't smell like vomit. And I don't know what I couldn't wash my hands. I don't know. It was just like
Oh
vomit fingers,
no.
right?
Oh
Sorry for
god.
anyone that's like eating while listening to this, but
Yeah, I know.
I feel like
Right?
most people are just like on their commute to work or something like
Put your
that,
food
right?
down.
Yeah, put your food down. Yeah, put down that Lucky Charms, right? But so I cleaned up. I don't know how I cleaned up this vomit with like 2 napkins. And then here's the thing: I was the first bus stop, so that pros and cons there. Pros is no one else really saw besides the other people at the bus stop, and they're just like, "Dude, you good?" And then,
Yeah.
but no one else knew. And then, but the con is because of the first bus stop, we had to pick up every other student on the routes, and it was like
Yeah.
an hour-long bus ride every morning, right? So I had to sit on the bus for an hour in the back, like just like feeling like not great. But it was out of my system at least. So we go to school. I guess I washed my hand. I don't know. I was like feeling okay, and then we get to class, and we had like morning announcements and stuff, and I don't know, like, so we had like, this is a really weird thing that the United States does, and both of you know because you went to school here.
Yeah.
But we do the Pledge of Allegiance. We put your right hand
Mhm.
on your heart,
Yeah.
right? It's like,
Mhm.
I pledge allegiance to the flag. Like it's actually like, it sounds dystopian because you're just like, all the kids are just chanting the same thing in the morning, right? But we
Yeah.
had the Pledge of Allegiance over the announcement, and then there would be like general announcement for the school, and then everyone would take a turn to read like the lunch menu and other small announcements. And every day was a different student. It was my first time that day, right? So I was like, all right, I gotta go in front of the class and read like this orange piece of paper that had like the lunch menu and
Yeah.
everything. And so I knew it was my time. And I remember specifically, I was like, shoot, I should have done this when I was washing my hand, but I guess I didn't have to go. I don't have to go to the bathroom. For some reason, when I was a kid, it's been a while since I've thrown up, so I don't know if it's still the same as an adult. But for this makes no biological sense. But I would throw up, and then I would have to like pee for like the next like 2 minutes straight, like really bad. Like it's weird. It's like longest pees in my life, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then all of a sudden it hit me. I was like, oh, I have to pee. But I was like, man, like literally were about to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I had to go up in front of class. I can't ask the teacher, right? Like I was like too scared to even ask the teacher. I was like, they're like, what are you doing? You have to say in the morning like announcement stuff, right? Like it's not even like someone else is reading the lunch menu. So I was like, all right, I'll just hold it until then. Go in front of the whole classroom. It's me, and then my teacher standing to my left, right? Because she stands there, just make sure you're like doing everything correctly. And I'm reading, and everyone's staring at me. I'm like halfway through the lunch menu, and I just turned to my teacher to my left. I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. And she's like literally, I'm like middle of like, all right, today we have calzone with like cookies, and I have to go to the bathroom, right? And everyone's staring at me because they're like, what's going on, right? They're listening to the
Yeah.
lunch menu, and and the teacher's like, right now. And I was like, yeah, right now. And then like, I think she said yeah, and then like, right when I said it, peed my whole pants. And like I was wearing like
Oh
long pants. It
no.
was like Connecticut. It was like fall time. It was like a little chilly. It was like some corduroys or something like that, like tan pants. So you could see the coloration change. It wasn't like black pants, right? And it happens. And she's like, and then she's like, go, 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 go now, right? And so I like try to go to the bathroom. Dude, the bathroom was far from wherever my classroom was. By the time I made to the bathroom, like it was done. Like I had nothing else I had to do,
Yeah.
right? So I was in the bathroom for like the next hour trying to dry off. I didn't know you could call like the nurse's office, whoever, and get your parents to get a change of clothes. I didn't know any of this stuff, right? Because I've never done it, and I've never witnessed someone actually pee their pants in front of the whole class. I'm sure people have done it in the back or something, but like I'd never actually seen it, right?
Yeah.
So I come back after like an hour, and clearly my pants aren't dry. I don't know what the teacher said to everyone, but no one like made fun of me that day, right, for it. But here's the thing: she never told me I could call my mom or anything like that. So I literally went the whole day with like
Oh.
damp pee pants, right?
Oh
Oh,
no. They
And
no.
didn't
this was
even have like spare clothes at the nurse's office or
I didn't
anything.
even make it nurse's office. I didn't know that was a thing, right? So
Yeah.
I went
Oh
back,
dear.
right? And my pants are like damp, and they're like thick pants, so like thick fabric, so they don't dry off very easily. And I just go around the rest of the day like smelling a little bit like pee with damp pee pants. I feel really bad for my friend Laura, who I still remember to this day. I know her full name and everything. But she so we go to music class. So we're in the same classroom the whole day, but then we go to music class where it's a different classroom. We're like playing our recorders and stuff, and we sit down, and then like after like 5 minutes, we're like our teacher's like, oh wait, everyone scoot down one seat because like there's another spot then for the other kid coming in late or something. So I scoot over one seat, and I look back at the seat, and it's like kind of damp, right? You can see like the
No.
dampness on it.
Oh
And I feel
no.
so bad because Laura, like, she's either a trooper or like didn't realize.
Oh
She just like
no.
instantly sat into the seat I was sitting in for the past like 5 minutes, right? It was like damp
Oh.
already. Or she knew and she just didn't want to make a scene of it. I don't know. She's always been very nice too. So maybe she just didn't want So I feel a little bit bad for Laura because she got some of the dampness on her too.
You should have taken the chair with you.
No, no, no. They were like they were one of those desks that was the chair, and then the desk is connected to the chair.
Oh
Yeah, I
Like
know
it's
what
like
you're talking
lifting
about.
up, like it would
Yeah.
make no sense, right? Everyone would be like, dude, I was ready. I already felt like I was sticking out the whole day, right? Let alone be
Yeah.
the new kid, let alone be the only like one of the non-white kids, but also the kid that peed their pants in front of everyone, right?
Oh
Um,
man.
there's
Yeah.
someone else. There was actually someone in my classroom that's also she's my neighbor. Like we still know each other, family friend, but she's actually at the same bus stop, so she saw me vomit, and she's in the same classroom, so she saw the vomit happen and the pee happen the same day, right?
Oh
Like,
no.
yeah, she must have been like, dude, what is going on with you today? But and then it all got a little bit better when recess hit after lunch. It was like one of our last like things, right? We had one class period after recess, so it was like towards the end of the day And at recess, there was this like playground and everything. And I was like, I am not hanging out with anyone from my classroom, right? At recess, because like they all know, right? They're going to say something. So I was hanging out with some other kids I was friends with too in other classes. And there was this like, I remember there was this slide in the middle of the field, right? It wasn't even like a playground, it was just like literally just like this lone slide in the grass field. And it was made out of metal. And there were no clouds or trees above this area. So the sun would just be beaming down
Hot.
on this metal side, beaming hot, right? And everyone's wearing like long pants and everything too. So they go down the slide. It was really hot, but everyone liked it because it was so hot and it was metal. There'll be like no friction. You just like slide instantly down, right? And so everyone's just like zooming down the slide, right? And usually any other day I'd be zooming down with them, but because my pants are so damp, I go from the top and I'm going down. I just like stop at the top, right? Or like 3/4 away or halfway through. I just like stop because all the friction, right? From the moisture.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, whoa, like how did you do that, right? How did you stop midway? That's impressive. I was like, yeah, I don't know. And I'm just like pulling down the edge, just like pulling myself down, right? And let me just say, it feels bad, but my pants were dried after that, right? The steam, it was like ironing your clothes. I just like instantly dried, right?
Whoa.
And yeah, I know how
Oh my
gross it is. Damp,
God.
wet pee pants sliding down metal slide, everyone's sliding down. But like by then, I was like, dude, I had a rough day. I need like at least dry pants for like an hour of the day at least. So my pants were luckily dry at then. But yeah, that was the most embarrassing day of my life, and I feel like it's hard to
Whoa.
top, and I forgot why we even
Yeah,
brought
I
this up,
mean,
but
shoot, when you lead in with that story, like Sonic and I are like, oh man.
it doesn't get
No, because
yeah.
it's making me remember all of these crazy things that
Dude,
happened to me.
if
I
you
was
can top
surprised you went
this,
with like early. I was thinking like recent, like throw up, like in your like
Oh yeah.
adult,
oh
younger, like young alcohol days, you know.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
that was that too, man. Talk about a domino effect for you.
yo yeah. Here's the craziest part. My mom doesn't even know about the full story. I told her I threw up on the bus.
Yeah,
And my friends keep telling me like, you gotta tell her that you peed your pants eventually. I was like, yeah, I'm honestly not even embarrassed about it anymore. I just like keep forgetting because like what am I gonna do?
yeah.
I call my mom like at least once a week, and like what am I gonna do? Randomly like, hey, remember when I threw up? Like I was like it's
Yeah,
never
how
worked
do
in the
you bring
conversation.
that up?
Yeah, I need to find out some way. I'm about to see her in like 2 weeks as well in
Yeah.
Hartford,
Yeah.
so maybe I'll
So I got one for you too, and it's
yeah.
I want to say third or fourth grade as well.
Okay,
And
please top mine.
what reminded me of this is when you asked the teacher to go to the toilet, and she
Uh-huh.
was like, "What? No, like you gotta go,"
Mhm.
because that's what happened to me. I'm like, I gotta go to the toilet, and so I'll set this up. Um, Classes when I was a kid, it was like you were all in one class, right? So you had like 28 other kids with you,
Yep.
but then you had different times during the day. All right, this is going to be English, this is going to be
Mhm.
history, this is going to be math. So it was the transition time of like we were having one class, and I asked to go to the bathroom, and the teacher said, "No, you can go once you get to your next once you get to PT, which is physical fitness."
Mm.
We were transitioning out of the classroom, going to PT, and then I could ask the teacher of PT if I could go to the toilet. Mind you, I had to go desperately. And so we're walking out, we're in a filed line going out to PT, get all the way. And it's not just normal PT where we line up in front of the gym where there's bathrooms right there and everything. It was a special PT where they wanted to take us out onto the soccer fields.
Mhm.
So we have to walk even further away. We get all the way out there. I raise my hand. I have to go to the toilet. And the teacher said, "No, let me get through the instructions for everyone. And once we start the game, then you can go to the toilet." Now, I didn't need to pee. I needed to shit my pants. Okay.
Oh man.
And I had been holding this in. I must have had a funny tummy or something because I was holding this in and it was like gurgling at me, like you're on death's door right now. This needs to get out of your body. And the teacher
Oh
finally
no.
told everyone how we're going to be playing the game. And then they're like, you can go to the toilet. And I am mad sprinting across
Oh.
it was a soccer field and then like 4 outdoor basketball courts. And then it was the toilets.
Yeah.
And I'm sprinting across, but like you get to the point where you move your legs too much and then it's going to come out. So you have to kind of walk slow, but walk
Yeah, you can't
fast
go too quick. Yeah.
and walking. And dude, it was coming out. It came out all over. And I get in there, get into the toilet. It's the middle of the day. So there's people kind of like everywhere, but not like crazy. There's no like teachers waiting by the toilet to make sure, you know, everyone's behaving, you know, whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I get into there and I look, and it was all contained in my underwear. It was all contained.
You weren't dropping Lincoln Logs on the way to the bathroom?
No, it was not Lincoln Logs, bro. It was
No
not.
breadcrumbs on the way.
Oh no.
No. So I take my pants off right away, and then I look
Ugh.
on the inside of my pants. I think I had jeans on, and there was no residue. There was no poop stains.
Nice.
It was all contained in my whitey tighties. And I'm like, holy shit. So I wrap it up, and I take toilet paper and wrap the fuck out of it.
Okay.
I finish doing my business, get myself all clean, get my jeans back on with no underwear now,
Right.
and I throw the underwear away into the big trash bin in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right? It was a
Okay.
big, like one of those industrial size black
Yeah.
trash bin. Yeah.
Uh,
So I throw away the underwear that is wrapped in toilet paper in there. I'm clean scathed. Right? No one knows it happened. No one knows it was me.
Yeah.
I didn't get any shit in my pants. I am home free. I continue on with my day, and towards the end, about like 3 o'clock, right before we leave, an announcement came over the school that
someone had thrown it away. No.
kids, if you have an accident, reach out to an adult or a teacher nearby to let them know. Do not throw or discard any clothing into the garbage. And I'm like, oh shit! Like,
How did they even know? They looked through it. Like,
Probably smelled it, right?
someone
And they looked in, they were like,
who was taking out the trash probably smelled it and then had a look in there, and there's just whitey tighties caked in
dude,
diarrhea.
sort through it.
So that is my story. I
But you
got
never
away.
exposed, though, right?
Huh?
You never got exposed or caught for
I
it, right?
never got caught. Never told a soul until this day. Not a single person on this
Until
planet
now?
knew that I was the culprit back in, God, like 98, 99.
Yeah.
Dude.
No one
Sheesh.
knows, but I got away. And
You
I was
got
so,
away with
dude,
it, though. That's
relief
like gotta
that
be a
comes
good feeling.
over when that happens, and then you check and the jeans were perfect, pristine, clean.
Dude, you lucked out.
I did look out, but
Yeah.
that's my I didn't throw up, but
Yeah, that's almost
that's
like a
probably-
good story. You got away with it, you know.
I got away
It's
with
like a,
it.
it's
yeah.
like a, it's like it's like
I got a
successful
throw up
robbery.
story from the military if you want. It wasn't me, but it was someone right next to me.
Yeah, what happened?
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's it was at basic training, and for
Mhm.
anyone that's been there, especially, I don't know if it's changed to today. I'm sure it hasn't. I was in the Air Force, but at basic training, when your flight, your group that you're with, usually about 50 people or so, moves anywhere, they have to move with an instructor, and there has to be people or student or trainees in charge of certain tasks.
Sure.
So we got done with PT. We got all dressed. We headed off to the chow hall. And when everyone in our flight, so the instructors go sit down at the instructor table. And when everyone, it was my job, when everyone in our flight has gotten their food and sat down, I have to report with my wingman to the instructor that flight 136 is all fed and sat down at the table, ready to leave in 5 minutes, so that they know, okay, they're going to be done. We only got 5 minutes to eat. But anyways, I had a new guy with me doing this. I had been used to it, of reporting to the instructors, and it's called the snake pit. So there's like 6 or 7 instructors at all times who have their flights there. And these guys, like basic military, especially back in the day, was very, like, they are hard. And I know it's probably not as hard if there's anyone in the Army or the Marines listen to this right now. The Air Force is probably not as hard as you guys. But still, from a civilian transitioning into military life, it can be intimidating. And so you have to stand at attention. You have to say all the right words. You have to do all the right movements.
Yep.
You cross your T's, dot your I's. And I'm sitting there, sir, flight 436 reporting for duty, sir, blah, 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 blah. And my wingman to my left is so scared that he just goes, just blasts throw up right in front of all the snake pit and the instructors. And they get up from the table and just start just yelling into him. Yeah. Poor kid, man. But
How do you
oh
hold a
my
straight
gosh,
face when that's happening next to you?
dude, I don't know.
Right?
So bad, right?
I
You have to, like,
probably
Scared
didn't.
yourself.
smile. Yeah.
I was just so concerned because they yelled at me to square him away. Like I had to turn him around. And, when you get to any movement you do when you're in basic training, you have to do correct steps, correct arm placement. You can't just walk around like you're a civilian, right? It's military.
Yeah.
And so they're like, get him squared away. So I turn to get him squared away and he just tries walking and they start yelling, "You're not supposed to walk like that, blah, 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 blah."
Oh my goodness.
Poor kid. But yeah, it was so funny. Just, two people, basic training, reporting to this group of intimidating instructors, and he just blast throw up.
Was he
I feel
sick
like-
or he just got nervous?
It was probably fatigue from working out because everyone coming in is not used to. We worked out every single morning, 4:45 in the morning. You are out at the track doing push-ups, sit-ups, and you are running for 30 minutes straight, like every single day, nonstop to a T. 4:45 a.m. Alarms go off. You get dressed. You're out onto the PT grid and you're going. So a lot of kids coming into this were out of shape, including myself. But
Yeah.
you get into shape. Like I must have lost like 40 pounds in basic training. I
Oh
went
my
from
gosh.
barely being able to do like maybe like 10 push-ups to like I could do 70 in a minute and like running nonstop. Like it was but this was early on. So a lot of people were still trying to get used to it. And we probably had a hard morning that morning where they gradually work you up. They're like, okay, you can run for 5 minutes. They just had a timer. You had a track and there was a big timer and it was a clock, 30 minutes, boom. And it just counts down. And then they yell walk and then they yell run and then they yell walk. And so you're doing interval training to get used to it. So it probably was one of those days where he was just really out of it and fatigued and didn't eat or didn't hydrate enough and then just
Oh my goodness.
Sheesh.
All right, Speedy. Let's
Dude,
hear it.
The stories that you guys lined up, there's no chance that I can top them, right? But the least I can
It's
do
not
is, like,
too
give
late.
you
You
two.
could always pee your pants on an official broadcast.
Dude, I want everyone to comment in the YouTube comments which regional they think Caleb peed his pants at. It's been at least one. No, I'm just kidding. Just playing around. But yeah, I've got two stories. Same age group. I don't know what it is about being that age, but mine are also from back when we were 6, 7, 8 years old.
I was 9. I was old. I was the last
9.
person in my entire grade to pee their pants, to my knowledge. I'm just saying, at least in school. I was, trust me, like, misery loves company. I got no company from that one.
So the first one I'll tell is a pee story. I remember I was hanging out with my best friend at the time, Bobby, and I was with him and his mom, and we were going to go rent a movie from believe it or not, Movie Gallery, right? And we had been like playing all day. We had been like running outside and just doing kids stuff. And we went and got some food, and I got like this huge soda. And the first thing is that we were driving, and I took the lid off the soda just so I could drink from the cup directly. And his mom was like, "Bump," and I didn't know, I didn't respond in time, and the bump hit, and the soda went like up all over my face, right?
Oh.
So my face was like sticky, and I was like, "Oh, that's great," but like I tried to play it off. I didn't say anything, and I'm not even sure if they noticed. But anyway,
Yeah.
I end up drinking this entire like huge thing of soda, and we're driving around, and we get to the movie gallery. And for whatever reason, there wasn't a bathroom. I can't remember exactly, like if I was just too shy as a kid and I didn't ask, or like I looked around, I didn't see one. I didn't ask to use the employee bathroom. So we're like walking around, and we're looking at movies, and his mom is taking so long. She's taking like an hour to look at movies. We're like, okay, we got to get out of here eventually, right? I did not expect for this to take this long. And I'm walking around. I'm like, okay, I really need to go. And the soda just hits me all at once. And I remember him and his mom were looking at movies, and I'm like tapping him on the shoulder. I'm like, Bobby, I gotta go. And his mom turns, she's like, what are you talking about? And just the whole front of my pants just gets so warm, and it just like I couldn't even like some guys can like stop midway. I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
It's
Especially when you're
just
kid,
let
there's
it
no
go.
way. Yeah. You don't have that control. Yeah.
And I just stood there in the middle of the movie gallery, and it was like you could hear a pin drop, right? Like they were just staring at me, just watching it, just
Oh no.
just darken my pants, right? And I was like
Mhm.
so embarrassed. Like immediately we left the movie gallery, got in the car, and they like drove me home, and they were like, all right, you're just gonna go home for today because that's just too much. And of course I'm sure they were disappointed, like, what is this kid doing, peeing on himself in the middle of a movie gallery, like in a public place. I could have at least gone like outside or something and like gone behind the building, or I don't know.
You say that, but you could have been standing in front of a whole classroom of people staring at you.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So yeah, again, I can't top you guys' stories, but at least I can give you two. The second one, I was even younger than the movie gallery story.
I
But we
need an
went out.
older one. I need one where you peed your pants like yesterday, to make up for this.
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
it was last week. But,
Okay.
so I was even younger. We went out on a field trip to like a local park, and this one definitely has more of like Zionic Stories vibes. We go to the local park and we're like playing around. There's like a whole bunch of like play areas where you can like there's like a net you can climb on. There swings and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I think I got to fart. And and I fart and I'm like, huh, that fart was like a little wet, a little more wet than I expected,
Oh
right?
man.
But I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna keep playing. So so I keep running around and I'm having like a fun time with all the other kids, all my classmates. And eventually I'm like, oh man, like I'm kind of uncomfortable. Like that fart really did a number. Like I'm kind of itchy. Right. So like when people aren't looking, I'm like, reaching back to like scratch my butt, or I'm like walking
Oh
over and like
yeah.
rubbing my butt on something. And
Are you a bear? Must have found a good
basically
tree.
a bear, basically a bear in the woods, right? But we run around for like another hour or two, and by the end of it, guys, I'm so uncomfortable. I'm like sitting down in some gravel, and like when people aren't looking, I'm like like twisting or like rocking myself. I'm like, oh man, I really just do not feel good. Turns out it was a little bit more than a fart, right? Obviously. And I had made a mess of myself, and I had like rubbed it so much that it had become kind of raw.
Oh
and
no.
and I remember after
Oh,
the field
no.
trip, I went home and I was like telling my parents about it. I remember my mom literally had to like put me over her lap and like put ointment on me because it was so
Oh
bad,
man.
No.
because I had really like rubbed myself raw. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I don't know what it was, man, but kids are gross.
It's what's interesting is it's the age where you still feel like you need permission in order to do something and you
Sure.
have to ask
Mm-hmm.
when you don't, you know what I mean? Like it's that weird age
Yeah.
where it's like you have self-control over your body, but there's an adult conducting your time and you go into the
Mm-hmm.
bathroom is disruptive to their time, so
Yeah.
they're like you can wait a couple minutes, but ultimately we're like
I need to go. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Dude, I never understood that too. Teachers that would like try to tell kids to hold it or like wait. I'm like,
yeah,
you're
like
talking to the
hold it in.
population of
Like,
people that are most likely to pee their pants. And this is the people you tell them to wait. Like, why is it
Yeah.
like what is so important from fourth grade that you cannot miss a few minutes of? There's trust me.
yeah,
I won't remember anything I learned in fourth grade, but I do remember peeing my pants, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean, to be fair, I didn't
Yeah.
actually ask the teacher, but I think she would have said
yeah.
no, right?
I just
I,
yeah, for my story, I thought it was so annoying where I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom, and the teacher's like, you guys are going out to PT. You can go to the
mm-hmm.
bathroom then.
Yeah.
Get out to
Mm-hmm.
PT. And sure, if it was a normal PT day, right? We're in the gym and
Yep.
there's a bathroom right there, and I can just go, I need to go, and they're like, okay, go ahead. But this time we had to walk all the way out to the fields,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mhm.
then I had to it's
I wonder
just
if
I
your
mean,
teachers knew because I was like, there's probably a good chance it's you that
dude, there was
dropped it in, right?
this was a school that had like all grades in it, so
mhm.
like kindergarten to 12th grade, like to high
Oh
school.
wow.
Oh
It
wow,
was a big
they
it
made
was
that
a
announcement in front of everyone. So you had like high
yeah.
schoolers in the same bathroom as like
Well,
little
no,
kids.
no, 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 no. So it
Okay,
was segmented.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
So there was
Different
the
halls.
elementary side and then the middle school, high school side.
okay, okay.
Mm.
But the elementary side, you know how many people go into that? Like how many kids go into that toilet? It could have been anyone. And
Yeah,
you
True.
know
that's
what I
true.
True.
thought was like they're gonna go around and inspect every single person to see who's missing their
Dude,
underwear.
kid
Well, take off
nuts.
their
That
pants.
makes
Like
no
Yeah,
that
sense.
was in my head. I'm like, when they made
yeah.
that announcement, I'm like, I have to go to the car to the not to
The
the parking
office.
lot, but it was the parent pickup zone,
Yeah.
Ah.
and I'm gonna have to go there and they're gonna inspect every single child that's leaving to see who's
On
missing
the
their
way out.
underwear.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I'm gonna get caught, and then it never happened.
Dude,
But
that's like in the
Thankfully.
movies where you're like trying to cross like a
Yeah.
inspection check, and you're the one
yeah,
that I'm like I can't
Yeah.
pass through
basically.
this.
Maybe if you had a principal Trunch Bowl, maybe that would happen then,
Yeah.
But
But
Oh my
I man,
goodness.
it's so weird. It's like so vivid the sense of relief that I had that I did not shit my pants. It was contained in the underwear, dude. I was like on cloud 9. I'm like, oh, about to get away with this.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that story too. The first ever anyone's heard it. Does your wife
Yeah.
doesn't even know
Wow.
about the story?
Nope, she doesn't. No one
Oh,
knows.
so
No,
it's
and
probably not a great
whoever's
first date
listening now
story.
knows it.
Dude, actually not gonna lie, I've been on a first date once where I shared the story. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Are you still together?
well well not that, but she did respond with a story of how she pooped her pants.
Mm.
But she was in her like mid-20s. so
Oh
so it was
no.
a little better, I guess.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
be fair, I
So,
was a little bit inebriated, so that's why I didn't remember telling her that story until
okay.
later. She's like, "Yeah, you told me this one before." I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Why are
Whoops.
we still on another date if this is how I opened our first date?" But
Exactly. Right.
it's fine. I've come to own it. Anyway, for anyone listening, I don't know how we do. We gone from the bowel cats to the bowel cats, right? At this point.
Bowel cats. Love it. Love
Little
it.
dad joke for you all. But yeah, if anyone has a more embarrassing story than that, let me know, because I've yet to meet someone with a more embarrassing day, and I need to tell my mother about this one
You
day.
can fit a lot in YouTube comments.
You
It's
could,
true.
you really could.
Tell those stories, and then Caleb and Will
Yeah.
will share it, and we'll kind of look back and laugh at it.
Yo, Squirrel
Yeah.
Trapper, I know you've had a more embarrassing life. Come on, man. So, so I don't know if you know this, Aaron, but we have a hater on our podcast these days, and
Okay.
they consistently leave comments, right? Every other episode, and their name is Squirrel Trapper. And not like belligerent hate comments, like full on, like well typed out, like paragraphs and novels about like
Oh, okay.
why Pokemon Go should not be an esport, and why we're clowns and everything like that.
Yeah.
But they listen to like every podcast, like they're like an hour in, and they'll still be like commenting stuff, like But yeah, anyway, and funny story too for EUIC, just to catch you up to speed, we had at least 2 separate people come up to us saying they're Squirrel Trapper, right? Like, yo, I'm
Yeah,
Squirrel
that was
Trapper.
hilarious.
As a joke, which is funny. So
that's
that'll be
good.
our future merch idea, is I'm Squirrel
Yeah.
Trapper. But anyway,
I see
so,
why you asked me. Am I comfortable with talking about anything you ask me about?
yeah. Before we went live, I was like, is there anything like you don't want me to like?
I'm glad you went
ask you about?
first, because I don't know if I would have remembered that story. I would have probably said
See?
something because when you said throw up, I would think back to college and
Yeah.
tell a story from then. But hearing you go through the
Depends.
dominoes that
Mhm.
the hurdles that you went through, I'm like, okay, I gotta tell mine. It's not throw up, but it's like it's a great sequence that's similar to yours.
That's why I like to go first to make people feel more comfortable. They're like, man, I had it bad, but not that bad. We got
Yeah.
Speedy over there, modern day Picasso in his pants, right? But but still not too bad. Anyway, transitioning back to Go as well. So we usually we have a T segment these days. Okay, so for our T segment this week, I want to. So we always bring in our guests to have a discussion here. I'm actually going to go back to one of your tweets from about a week ago. Well, actually, 5 days ago. No, something wild. Right? It's on Twitter, right? Yeah. You didn't put anything like you weren't like.
Yeah, well, I had a Niantic week. Let's just say
that. Yeah. Well, that's why it's some good tea, right? So your tweet says, "I called it years ago. A game that doesn't let you customize your character's hair would eventually have corporate issues of not caring about their player base. Y'all laughed at me, but it represents the fundamental issues for the current state of game. And just to clarify, this is just a symbolic notion. If they didn't care about the little things back then, it would grow and evolve to what we have now. Not saying we must have a hair update. Please fix GBL first."
Yep.
But anyway, I just want to ask you kind of what your head's at these days, or back then. And again, as a reminder, everyone, we're filming this on May 11th. A lot could happen between then. The last time I said this, actually, when we had Butters on, and I said, if the game goes to crap in the next like week or so, we don't know. And that was right before the remote raid stuff happened. So I'm nervous to say that this time, because who knows what I'm foreshadowing here. But yeah, what are your thoughts these days?
So I mean, it's pretty clear that they don't spend enough time or give enough time or care to give enough time to whoever works on Go Battle League, right? And I'm talking, you have to look at Niantic. You can't think of Niantic as every single person as a person who is the developer, right?
Mhm.
It's a big company. So there's people who make decisions who may not even know what a Pokemon is, right?
Mhm.
So if you look back at the updates of Go Battle League, you will see a pattern of them getting time, the developers, to do stuff, and then them not, based on what happens. So remember when we had like Dragonite get superpower and
Yep.
all of it was like 50, I think it was over 100 Pokemon affected by move updates.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It was insane. We were like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, this is what we needed. And then you got 9 months of nothing. Like, so what I meant by that tweet was when you have a video game, any video game that you play, you'll have customized, especially a video game where you have an avatar as your main thing, and it's not necessarily a skin, maybe not like Fortnite, but it's literally like your character and you can customize it with clothes and whatnot. Hair is like a most basic customization. Yes, we have
Mhm.
colors, but like hairstyles, especially since the main Pokemon game has it. The main Pokemon game, they don't have a lot, but you get to at least choose from like I think like 9 options or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least.
There's decent amount in Scarlet and Violet these days too.
Yeah, so you get options to customize yourself on how you want to look. Um the fact that they didn't think that was important when they first developed the game tells me that I'm sure there was developers there going like who's building the avatar stuff going we need different hairstyles, like it's not
Mhm.
much work, like give me like 3 weeks to get it all created and coded in. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know what actually
Yeah.
happened. This is just what I think might have happened. And they go that's not a top priority. This other things are top priorities, right? It's not a big deal. No, they won't worry about hair, right? You fast forward to now, and the smaller thing. So Go Battle League is a small feature. If you look at the grand scale of people playing the game, PvP
Mhm.
is a smaller feature. So it doesn't also bring them in specifically like revenue to an extent. Like how many premium passes you guys do? I may do premium passes at the end of a season on a 3 times Stardust week because I'm the
Yep.
highest rank possible with 3 times multiplier. But that's the only time I'll do it, and I'll only do it for Stardust, and I only do it if I need Stardust. And I only do it if I have a winning team. So there's like a lot of things that I would have to do to spend money on Go Battle League. Now, that also doesn't account into what we use with incubators and raids and all that because we're like hardcore players. Um, but the fact that a haircut wasn't important to give a player customization means that other things down the line that aren't important will just get put on the back burner and forgotten about and left. So
Mhm.
that's what I'm getting at, because now we're seeing it on a bigger scale where Go Battle League has invisible Pokemon for a month straight. Like, you know?
So you're saying it's like a symptom of an underlying cause, right?
Yes, it's a symptom of
And
their leadership not recognizing that the small things are important.
yeah.
And
I made a tweet yesterday and I worded it a specific way because I wanted to like address the same point that you're making, right? I showed off some of the bugs in PvP, right? The invisible Pokemon, the switch being broken, the charge root buttons glowing, the lag spikes that you get hit with. And I said the last sentence I wrote was please allocate resources towards fixing PvP because
yeah,
that's the issue, right? I
yeah.
don't think it's a lack of ability. I think it's a
No.
lack of focus, a lack of attention, and a lack of resources.
Yeah, because if you like, you were talking about my first video that I ever did of the
Mm-hmm.
Boulder Cup. If you look at how PvP was then to what it is now, it is night and day of how much
Yeah.
work has gone
Mhm.
in to create what we have.
Yes.
But the consistent issue is every 3 months it's a flip of the coin if resources were given to do anything, or if we just have 3 months of another 3 months of the same meta. And this is now twice that it's happened, where we have
Mhm.
had two segments of 9-month bursts of a Walrein Nidoqueen meta and a Noctowl Lantern meta. And it is unbelievably boring. And everyone knows it because everyone's like leaving the game. I can see my YouTube views across the board, not just my channel, but everyone else's channel, continuously drop. I mean, and it doesn't take much, right? You give yourself a dedicated team of like, you guys are Go Battle League, you guys always work on Go Battle League, run with it. I don't know if they do that. I don't know if they want to do that, or they, but it's very clear that they give resources when they feel it's important, and then we suffer when it's not. So
Dude, it's just like when the blog post goes out and there's like so many errors in like the logos, the wording, the language,
oh my
like
gosh,
it's embarrassing. It's like obviously this is a multi-billion-dollar company. These people are on salary. I think that they're being pulled in a ton of different directions. I think that they're being worked really, really hard. And even the people that really love PvP, that want this to succeed, they don't have enough time or energy to actually go into it and fix it. And I think that is the problem too, right? Because I mean, honestly, it's just straight up embarrassing to release a blog post with errors like that.
Yep. And the thing is, so I'm in the creator Discord, or not a Discord, but I'm in the creator chat with Niantic and other creators like Trainer Tips and Mystic 7 and all them. And because we are in there, we get some early access to updates. That's why you see when like a blog post comes out about something, Trainer Tips has a video that comes out the exact same time. It's not like he just made the video and got it up in 7 seconds. Like, so when I see these things, I'm like, guys, there's issues. But the thing is, they may all be asleep or something, and it just goes live, and it's just like, I just see the train wreck coming. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's even worse when I see it and I know that there's no updates, and I have to make a video it's like I know what Christmas has before Christmas happens, and it's like
it's all cold this year.
It's all cold, and I'm like,
Dude.
oh my gosh.
I think about the community members, right? Like yourself, Zionic, like Caleb, right, who provides all of his coaching and his Patreon. I think about the community members who make content from the game, and I feel really bad for all of us, right? Because we're trying to make content, we're trying to grow this game. We really invest in a lot of our energy, our efforts. When the game is at a low point, I definitely feel it mentally, right?
Yeah.
And I feel it's really hard for us to continue to pour all of ourselves into these projects when Niantic is just wishy-washy about how much time they actually want to commit as well. Like, you're trying to make videos, Caleb's like living off his Patreon, right? Like, we need this game to work, and it's just unfair when people just don't put the effort.
Yeah. And something maybe people don't know is this is my full-time thing. So the money from YouTube pays for my family. It goes directly into the food that my kids eat, the house that we live in. And it's not much. It's not like I'm not like, I don't know, some huge million subscriber getting 50 million views, 100 million views a month. Like, it's an honest living. And it's, oh man, dude, I'm one bad update away from readdressing what I do for content creation.
Yeah.
One more bad update away.
Out of curiosity, if you were to do different types of content, what would it be? I assume it'd probably still be in the gaming space, right? But
yeah. So I've been looking at well, there's 2 games. I actually already made a second YouTube channel that I put some content on.
It's not Peridot, right?
Oh, well,
I'm
no.
just kidding.
I put some content on it, and actually people from this community recognized me. They're like, I know that voice because I don't show my face in it. But they recognize my voice.
Got you.
It's a game called Destiny 2.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of Destiny. It's a what do you call it? First person shooter game, right?
Yeah, it's like a mix of Halo and World of Warcraft.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So you it's a first person shooter, but you have special abilities, and then you have gear and guns, and all these guns have different abilities that they do and perks that they do, and there's raids and boss fights and dungeons and PvP.
Wow.
It's literally like the perfect fusion.
Mm-hmm.
So I last fall I made a couple videos to see what would happen, and naturally it did really well. Like of 7 videos,
Nice.
I got like 150,000 views in 7 videos.
Oh, that's really good.
Whoa.
Out of nowhere, you like even
Out of
you
nowhere,
even plug
fresh
it anywhere?
channel. Yeah,
Wow.
you can look it up. It's Eclipse.
Dude.
Yeah.
I
What's
mean, maybe
what's
you
the
should.
channel called? Yeah, plug it if you want
Maybe
to.
you should.
ECLIPZE. It's got a potato.
Wait, what?
E- ECLIPZE.
ECPZE.
Dude, I think you
ECLIPZE.
should keep uploading on there
Oh, it
just
is.
because
Wait,
it's
what
doing
in the
so well.
world? It is a straight potato. What? Where does this come from?
It's an emoji that I got.
Oh,
But yeah.
that's great. That's great.
So I did it as a test to
Yeah.
see if I was to go into another video game,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
if I could. This was a brand new, fresh channel. It's brand spanking new, 0 subscribers. I didn't tell
Yeah.
anyone I did it. I just made 7 videos.
Right.
Dude,
Um,
it's
That's
honestly
fun.
amazing.
Yeah.
I think honestly, Psionic, regardless, I think you should continue to upload there. Maybe like once a week or something. Whatever you can
yeah,
manage.
that's what my wife is having me do. So we're at the crossroads right now of what game I want to do. I did Destiny
Mm.
as a test.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love the game, but it's for anyone who's listening who plays Destiny, it's like it's a hamster wheel, man.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
It
Get
is
on,
it
you
is
can't get
a
off.
hamster wheel and a half.
Mm,
And I honestly might go back. I love this so much.
yeah.
And my wife said she literally told me, because we were having this conversation. Well, last night we've had this conversation a lot now, because you have to talk about it, guys. Like
Of
everyone
course.
listening, like you got to understand this is how my family eats.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go from Go Battle League, let's say I want to say 2020,
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
everyone was popping. Like my videos were getting like within 24 hours 80,000 views,
Right.
Yep.
like
Mhm.
48 hours 100,000 views. To now it's like 48 hours is like 25,000 views.
And you have
Yep.
more
And
subscribers
that's,
these days too compared to then.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I look at my subscriber, it's just it's not in a healthy place.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
it's not, I don't think it's from my content creation.
No.
Sure, I can
No.
mix some stuff up and get better, but it's from the game.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
they're not investing. Like I honestly think at Niantic headquarters, aside from the people who really care about it, so shout out to any of the devs listening who like love it or want to help us. There's people who run the company who may not feel like it needs anything, right? It works,
Mhm.
doesn't it? People, I can do a battle. Yep, the battle works. That's great. And it's like, well, when you actually play competitively, it gets boring and it doesn't work actually. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, that's the tough conversations being had. Other games would be World of Warcraft or
They're coming out with a new
uh,
expansion, right?
yep, Dragonflight. Yeah, I've
Mhm.
been playing that with my friends as like a side thing, and we've been loving it. It brought us back because I played WoW when I was a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
and back in that day, for anyone, I keep saying for anyone listening because my YouTube comments is filled with people because I put World of Warcraft jokes in there all the time,
Oh,
and people comment
nice.
on it left and right because I say whenever someone survives with 33, about a third of their health, right,
Uh-huh.
from a charge move or whatever, I'm like, oh, about 33.33 repeating, of course, health remaining,
Nice.
something
There
like
you
that.
go.
But it's like, yeah, the new WoW expansion feels like old World of Warcraft, which is what I fell in love with as a teenager with my friends that I'm playing with now. Like we've come back after like 12 years of never playing the game, and we're
Yeah.
playing this expansion
Yeah, that's
together.
wild.
For
Mhm.
fun. So those are basically the two that I would try to like do more in. And basically, it's coming down to what happens come June 1st.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, for
So
those listening too, you all might know more than we do because it's only a few
yeah,
days away from an update. But who knows? Maybe the info comes out like a day before. All I gotta say is, if there are updates, which fingers crossed, hopefully there are meaningful updates, that first weekend of regionals is going to be wild because they're like June 1st
Oh, yeah.
happens, and then there's the Milwaukee regional on June 2nd, and then Malmo, I think, right? Is it Malmo or is it something
Yes,
else? Or
Malmo.
Torino, maybe? Oh, Malmo.
No, Malmo and Hartford are the same
Yeah, yeah,
weekend.
yeah. Is it Torino? It's some. I think there's
It
another
might be
tournament.
Torino.
I think there's some other tournament that same weekend as Milwaukee. Yeah, because
Yeah,
Malmo's already happened by the time you all hear this. But
yeah.
dude, that could be wild if there's big updates. But again, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Like, it's just like I hate the canned response of like. I'm not saying this is even a response, but just like maybe nice is thinking like, well, you all had some updates 3 months ago, so like we don't need a big update now. I'm like, dude, it's like half a year, right?
It
Like that's
just
a long time with like minimal updates, right?
yeah.
It's
Like I get like you don't have to, but like for the sake of the game and the freshness, it's not like the mechanics change every 3 months, right? It's just like
every other
on the
video game
balance.
operates on a seasonal thing now,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Fortnite,
More frequently
L-
than that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Fortnite,
Mhm.
League of Legends, World of Warcraft, like
Mhm.
Destiny, every other big game out there, they operate on seasons. They
Mhm.
sell battle passes for
Yep.
that season.
Mm-hmm.
Each season comes with something new, comes with something fresh, something to engage you. If
Mhm.
Call of Duty Warzone, I don't know. I played a bit back in the day, so they may actually have this problem. But if Call of Duty Warzone or if Fortnite had a season and then the next season it was the exact same as the previous one with no updates,
Mm-hmm.
and there was issues with the game where the opponents you're trying to shoot at are invisible and they're
Dude.
not hacking, it's just a feature of the game that the opponent in Fortnite is invisible
Mhm.
because of the coding of the game, and they have not updated Fortnite in 9 months. Do you
Dude.
think the Fortnite game would be doing well?
No.
No.
It would
No.
wither.
And the thing is, when you make the comparison to something big, it's like, that sounds ridiculous. Of course they should be fixing that, and of course they should have updates to keep players engaged. And it's like, so why not do that with Go Battle League? We actually don't need as much.
Right. We really don't. These are just some
Yeah.
some move updates and stuff like that. Like you don't need.
Yeah.
We're not asking
Mm-hmm.
for some big mechanics. Like
And
mechanic changes would be nice, but
this is the other thing too, is there's so many moves that are never used in Pokemon
True.
Go PvP that there is no excuse of we don't know what to update or whatever.
Mhm.
It's like, well, Feint Attack's never used. How about we update that? Like
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
there's I
There's
could
like
just
this.
go through the list. You can
There's an.
see the list if you go to PV Poke. You can go to moves and then think about, when's the last time you used Acid? When's the last time you used
Yeah.
Astonished? When's the last time you used Cut?
Mm-hmm.
Or I mean, I would say Ember, but that Canto Ninetales takes that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ember got a
Exactly.
Feint
slight buff
Attacked.
a while
Like,
ago. But.
Mm-hmm.
there's so many moves that are good and there's so many moves that are bad, and there's clear definitions of categories. You got your mud shots, you
Mhm.
got your charms, you got your shadow claws, you got your lock on. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you could easily categorize Zen Headbutt and look to go make it like a charm. Now, I'm not saying
Mhm.
that's the ideal thing because I think
Chansey loves
Chansey
it.
has Zen Headbutt, so I
Yeah.
don't want to make that
And
happen.
Blissey.
But you know what I mean? Like, you can look at a
Mhm.
move, you could categorize what Pokemon have that move, and think about how that playstyle could work, and then you update that. And that's just fast moves, like charge moves. Oh my gosh, it just
Yeah.
saddens me that there is so much that could be done.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and there's so much depth too. Not even just adding new moves, but like rethinking new things. Like for example, I had an idea a while back to look at Charizard, right? And something like Fire Blast is not used. What if you had variable energy cost for charge moves? Your first Fire Blast costs like the whole. I think it's like 80 energy. It's a lot of energy. But your second Fire Blast is only like 40. Imagine that. And the
Yeah,
game would like variably change throughout the game. There's
Mhm.
so many things you could do with Go,
yeah,
and I feel like it's so untapped and
Yeah.
just basically
yeah.
neglected.
And again, I don't want to knock on the developers, because when they do get the resources to do it, it's
Mhm.
clear that they do some like really cool stuff, like the introduction of all of the buffs and debuffs and then throwing that across a ton of moves, like cross
Mhm.
poison having that 12.5% chance to give you +2 attack, or drain punch or earth power or energy ball,
Mhm.
feather dance. Like, all of these things add something unique to the game, and then the updated moves like the wing attack update I thought was great, but I felt like it needed to have about like cool, like knocked out lantern, let's hit it for 3 months, but the next month like bring something else up, make Probo, like is there a coverage move Probopass could have, like does it have
I
access to
wonder.
drill run? I don't know. All these Pokemon have access to like 50 different moves from the main series, so like take a look at that, look how you can introduce it, and it's just time spent, and again it's like we just get put on the back burner.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just in a full rant.
Oh no, it's fine.
No, it's
That's just,
okay.
I opened the door with the tea segment, you know. So you're good.
Yeah.
You've been serving everyone some tea, which I appreciate. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. I mean, and again, hopefully you all listening in real time or like in present day have more info than we do in the past, right? Maybe there's a big update coming. I hope so. Because I remember when they dropped these updates, I remember they weren't even at the beginning of the season. They'd be like mid-season updates, and everyone would be like going live and talking about them and like building all this stuff. And like,
Oh my
dude,
god.
I feel like it's been so long. I mean, the last time we had one was when we had like the updates like 6 months ago, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Not even. It was like 9 months
My
ago. Really, it was really like the Walrein Nidoqueen nerf time, right? Because then they
yeah.
had a small update with the wing attack, but it wasn't as big. I mean, it still made a lot of meta implications, but it was not as big.
Yeah.
It's just like that should just be a thing every 3 months, please, Niantic. We always say this as I guess like a joke, but like kind of seriously too. Is that there's got to be someone from Niantic that listens to every episode of podcast, right? Maybe some like small
Please,
time,
just
but so we
one.
always tell like, please, if you're listening, just try to pass us along to a higher up, right? Here's our feedback.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be. I mean, I don't know. I get it, right?
Thing
Like
is,
this is your job and stuff, but like you should always like have a tap onto the content creators. Not every content creator, obviously, but
dude, the thing that worries me the most is they know.
yeah, that's actually I guess that is true. The thing is they know and they don't care,
They
right?
know.
Or they're not doing anything.
I have sat down to dinner with John Hankey.
Mm-hmm.
He knows. He shook
Yeah.
my hand and understands that PvP is important. It was in Germany at GoFest in 2022.
Yeah.
I was at a
Less
dinner
than a year
with
ago.
all the creators, with Trainer Tips, Mystic 7. We're all sitting there having wine, having drinks. John Hankey sits down, wants to hear everyone's feedback. Everyone's talking about their things that they think are important. Everyone kind of goes around the table, and after he gets up, I stop him and I talk to him about PvP. I tell him like, have you seen EUIC? Like, play Pokemon is a thing. Like, you guys need to invest. And he understood. He heard me. He thinks it's amazing. Shook my hand, and then I'm like, bro, you own this company. Like,
I need you to meet
dude.
him again a year later and be like, hey, like, you remember what I said a year ago, right? Well, what happened, right?
Yeah. If you look at the world's viewership, right? The not to knock the other titles, we had Unite, VG, and TCG there. Pokemon Go had 40,000 people watching that stream. That's like high level esport viewership, right? I mean,
40
you can
concurrents, right? There were more
40
over the day.
concurrents.
Yeah. Unique viewers.
Yeah.
More. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I hate to like end on this note. It's a
no,
very
that's
somber
fine.
note.
Well, we
but
won't end on
Okay,
this. No, I got a
let's-
question for you too. Oh yeah. Oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say, Zion?
I was gonna say, why don't we spin it? It might be your question, but I was say to spin it on a more positive note. What could be fun for the new season?
Well, I also don't want to disappoint people if we say something super fun, right?
Yeah.
What I was gonna ask you two is, dude, I'll see this on stream sometimes during the official broadcast, but there's like, yo, when is Speedish Chief going to compete one day, or when is Zionic going to compete one day, right? You know, you all do PP stuff all day long. You commentate as well, so you definitely been to the tournaments. So my question for you all, for the people at home, probably asking as well, so I'm gonna ask for them. When are you two going to compete?
I got a good excuse.
Yes, you know,
What's your excuse?
Sonic has a stronger excuse than I do. He's got a family.
I started falling off the wagon once I had 2 children.
Dude, I don't know, man. So I don't know if you know about this, Sonic, but every season, me and Speedy Chief will have a race to legend bet.
Yeah.
And let me just say, it's not been going in Speedy's favor, but you two might be a neck and neck on this one. So I think if Speedy can compete, I think you can too. You know, I think you're both.
I know.
If you both fall off the wagon, you're walking together behind the wagon.
I know I could compete if I if I took the time to
Sure.
build my team, like go back into my Soph days of my team building
Mm-hmm.
and really, really talk about it. I was talking to Dancing Rob because he was going to be at EUIC this year, and he was really excited because we got to meet because I didn't get to congratulate him in person.
Yeah.
At Worlds because I had to catch the train home. If you guys didn't know, when you guys were shoutcasting Worlds, I was there in person.
Yep, I remember seeing you.
But there was train delays, so my train that evening got canceled. So I had to get on the first train out because I wouldn't have been able to get home otherwise. Other paying like $300 for a taxi,
Oof.
which I don't really want to do.
Yeah.
So I had to leave early, and I was watching the finals on the train.
Oh,
so I
okay.
didn't get to congratulate Dancing Rob, who I had been rooting for since EUIC. So he was really excited. But anyways, I was telling him, I'm like, I feel like there's a big opportunity for Tentacruel in the meta that people like kind of overlook because as a safe swap, especially in Go Battle League, if teams only good counter to a Tentacruel is going to be that Lantern, or if there's a Galarian Stunfisk, or if there's a Trevenant, you got options to come into that. If you go Acid Spray, you could actually completely flip it. So if you pair Tentacruel with something like a Bastiodon where you need hard switch, and then you have something like Mantine where you draw out that Lantern, I feel like it could run a bit. It's got many legs to run on.
Yeah.
I thought it's something unique because if I was to bring something spicy, right, I wouldn't just bring the typical top 6, you know. But yeah, I'd have to sit down and build it out. But then it's like the second I'm done doing YouTube stuff, I get smacked back into reality of being a father of 2 toddlers.
Yeah.
It's like, it's big.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Well, Zionic,
Speedy?
you said more casting at more EU regionals, hopefully this upcoming season, maybe more attendance too. Maybe you can go out and compete.
Yeah.
I don't know. Caleb's asking me the same question, right? I don't have the same responsibilities as Zionic does, but we're all traveling a lot, right? Somehow Caleb has time to do YouTube, to do Patreon, to be a sweaty try-hard every single day in GBL. He's got time for all of it. I don't know how.
I was already
like,
competed at Hartford by the time you hear this, right?
That's true.
Who knows how that went? Maybe I bombed and went 0-2. Maybe I won it all. You never know.
Yeah. Wait, you're doing Hartford? You're battling in Hartford?
Yeah, in a week and a half. So I'll be there, yeah,
dude.
So
just for fun.
So I was gonna go. So I was gonna go there either way because I grew up in Connecticut and my mom's still there. So I was gonna visit my mom, and I was thinking like, all right, if I'm invited to commentate, I'll just commentate and visit her. But because I'm not commentating at that one, I was like, let's just go. And dude, 168, man, biggest NA tournament to date. So
really,
yeah, 168 over the 128.
I am surprised by that.
There's a bunch of Europeans actually going that one. Yeah.
Go EU. We're rocking it.
Yeah, and Anakin's gonna be there too. So
okay,
yeah, it's true.
We'll see.
Plus, there's prize money, right? So
wait, actually, you know what? Because people don't know. I mean, by the time that
let's
airs,
see your team.
Yeah, they already know, right? So either I ran with this team or I chickened out and did something more meta. But my team is it is different. It's spicy.
It's different.
Spicy.
There's Bastiodon,
there's
everyone.
No Bastiodon. There's no Bastion at the moment. I actually took Bastion off. I already proved myself, right, with Basti.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you got defense from Deoxys. Oh, you don't have Bastiodon.
Dude, I don't have Metacham. Do you see that chestnut?
I see it.
Oh my god.
Yo,
that's a good one.
DD as well.
No flyer either.
No flyer. No knocked-out. No Trevenant. No Lantern.
I mean, you don't necessarily need a flyer when you got the Toxapex Sableye DD.
Dude, I feel like Sableye and Trevenant just destroy you though.
I feel like Shadow Dragonair is gonna run you over. No, I don't know.
I mean, it might actually. I don't know. Like I said, yeah,
it just made him chicken out.
It's a weird team. I might have chickened out, right? So if you're if you're on the YouTube version, you saw my team, and I ran something way different at Hartford, then I chickened out.
Well,
or if I go 0-2 at Hartford, you know why, right?
I like the chestnut play. I will say that. I think it's got the move set to really do well. The typing hinders it pretty hard.
Yes,
in some setups.
It's good into Sableye though.
Yeah,
Sable has good return.
Exactly.
And you even if they bait you with return, you outpace to the frenzy plants.
Yeah, like you got those Swamperts on lock, right? You do well against Galarian Stunfisk, unbelievably well against Galarian Stunfisk.
Well. Yeah, resist everything.
You just have to and then you got neutral damage back at Noctowl, Sableye, Alolan Ninetales.
Altaria and Dragonair are definitely problems though.
Yeah, of course.
Altaria is a problem. I got Registeel and Toxapex. That's about it.
Maybe some Umbreon if you don't take a Moonblast.
Yeah, or Sableye, same thing, right? DD, I'm not running Rock Slide. I have Thunderbolt.
I
I
like.
need it
Oh,
for
you're
the-
not. Okay.
Yeah, I need it for the Registeel. Otherwise, I lose a Registeel with Rock Slide, Psycho Boost. So,
Ah,
Okay.
fair.
yeah, dude, it's so
Okay.
uncomfortable. You know, I could just run a Medi and throw Ice Punches, but you know, I'm playing the hard route here. I'm playing yeah. So we'll have to see. I had a Shadow Charizard instead of the DD, but I was just so weak to Powder Snow, Low Ninetales. It just like beats like
Yeah.
4 out of my 6. So I'm
Yeah.
stuck bringing Toxapex or Registeel every game. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Hey, I mean, I already qualified, but you know me, I still want to do well. So I might honestly be
Yeah.
scrimming more for this than I did for San Diego. Because San Diego, I barely
Yeah.
scrimmed. I did barely prepped. For this one, I'm like, I'm trying to win.
I think it comes down to your retention, though. Your ability to recall things like matchups is actually pretty solid, so you don't need to scrim as much as some people. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you say that, but I definitely like after San Diego, I realized that Sableye versus Noctowl matchup, you just throw foul plays. Going for a return is like kind of a throw because you get less damage out of it. You end up
Oh,
only getting
yeah.
one move, right?
I've learned
I would always go
that as well.
return.
Just
Yeah.
playing in Go Battle League.
Yep.
yeah,
I'm like, you just go foul play because the second they shield that return, like that's way too much energy.
You're
being
so
dumped.
far
Yeah,
behind.
but even if they
And-
don't shield it, they just overfarm and then throw the Sky attack before you get to the next foul play, and you end up getting
Yeah.
only 1 return of damage instead of 2 foul plays or 3
Yeah.
even.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, that was my misplay. But
But yeah.
you know, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, everyone listening to this will know how I did, or you know, so they'll know. But that's
Why?
the spice.
Okay. Why
That's the
not
spice.
Bastiodon? You just everyone's gonna expect it.
No, it's not even that. It's just that when I was team building, I already have a Toxapex on my team. Like it's just so and I end up being so weak. Like I just end up being too weak to other stuff, right? Like I
Okay.
just couldn't find a way to fit it on my team. I tried.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I tried Bastiodon, right? But
Yeah.
I think it's also kind of hard to run in this current meta. Like Lantern, like even
Mhm.
Trevenant can beat it, right? There's Galarian Stunfisk, Registeel, Medicham everywhere.
That's why you run it with Flash Cannon, man.
Oh man, I'd love to see
That'll
that.
take like 10 smackdowns.
Oh, that'd be the other thing. I'd run weird movesets. So my Trevenant would have foul play.
Oh, okay, for some new.
I remember we
something
talked
for it.
about that
Yeah.
down at in the hotel lobby. But
Yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah.
like
Mhm.
I always
For
thought
the
like
Noctowl.
people just run Shadow Ball Seed Bomb,
Mhm.
but foul plays less energy than Shadow Ball, and you
Yep.
get this like basically the same coverage, and you
yeah,
get
it's really
neutral
the Registeel
damage
matchup. I think
to
that you
Noctowl.
suffer. Yeah.
Yeah, some matchups might be different, but
Yeah.
it's that surprise factor, especially in best of threes. Like if you can get
Mhm.
a foul play to land, you know, in a Trevenant mirror, right? And all of a sudden, boom, you just take it, and then you just roll that into another win, and then you're good. Like that happens over and over and over.
It does.
And then that matchup against Noctowl, if they try to farm you down after the mid game, you can at least chunk more health. Like foul play
Yeah,
damage,
true.
like if you got 1 or 2, that adds up.
Yeah. All right.
Mhm.
Well, you know, only one way to see a Zionic is if you compete. That's what I'm saying.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, see the Z-Man come out of retirement here.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Out of the two of you, who's the first one to compete? People should drop their predictions down below in the comments on YouTube. But I don't know. It's anyone's race really at this rate too. So we
It's true.
shall see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
We're both chillaxing, having fun, shoutcasting.
Exactly.
You know, it is stressful though competing against. I remember when I was competing, I was like, dude, I haven't been this nervous in a hot second, right?
Yeah.
It's a rush.
It is. It is. I'll actually be competing at Fresno too, so I'll be going to at least 3 different tournaments.
You guys got more? Jeez.
Yeah, we got a couple
many-
more. We have Hartford.
Mhm.
By the time you hear this, Hartford's over, but Hartford, Milwaukee, Fresno. Those 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fresno's like only a couple hours away from me because I'm in California, so I was like,
Yeah.
It's dude. In comparison, Fresno has like almost like no one signed up. Obviously, there's more time left. 168 at Hartford, 45 at Fresno.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Fresno being the last one of the regular season. I expect
Yeah.
that to spike towards, the coming weeks, but
Yeah,
hopefully,
dude,
fingers crossed.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, what a great time it's been. Honestly, do you have any final thoughts, Ionic? And if not, where can people find you if they don't already follow you? Which I feel like is
Final
absurd.
thoughts is I had fun talking about the 4th grade poops and peas.
Oh yeah.
They waited 100
That was,
episodes for that story, but it's well
That was
worth it.
a good funny bonding moment there. So And then you guys can find me on Twitter and YouTube. Zionic.
Definitely. And hopefully future broadcasts as well too, because
Yeah.
we gotta see some booms on stream. It'll be
Gotta
good.
see some booms.
Please.
Well, anyway, thank you for joining in on our very special episode 100. It's great to have you back as well for this episode.
Appreciate
great to
it.
talk to you as always. And stay tuned, everyone, for some maybe changes coming to the podcast in the future. Maybe some stuff's gonna happen. Maybe things. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it happens. If it doesn't happen, don't quote me on this later. But I have some ideas. But anyway, until then. Have a good one, and hopefully June 1st we have some good updates. And if not, sorry in advance. But here we are.
You can find me on Destiny.
Yeah, right.
Go look them up. Go look up the potato. All right. Have a good one. Peace out.
Peace.
Bye.